Mature content. The following stream contains content that may not be suitable for all audiences, including mature themes, strong language, and potentially sensitive material. Viewer discretion is advised.
Meow. Meow.
Well,
Hey,
we're waiting.
J-Bone Nation.
Nice.
Shaming of Jay.
Oh, yeah.
He's not
Hey,
a
Bo,
dopey dumb
what's this I'm
man.
hearing about what you're saying? I thought we were
Gets
friends.
laid. Meow.
What you just said
The court
is one of the
jets
most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response.
to the case.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here for this. My hat is askew and I don't like it. Thank you for being here. We're going to do a rewatch of some of the, I don't know how much we'll get through, but at least a few hours. We got opening statements, we got witnesses. And then I know this afternoon, I believe Ali Mata will be going live because she is live in court right now, I believe, for Delphi. So got a whole day for you guys if you're going to check that out too. So thanks for being here. Yeah. And I think I set this up for, I haven't done this in a while, but I think on Restream, I'm on other stuff, but anywhoozle, thanks for being here. Good morning, everybody. Before we start the rewatch, though, I have to address something. I have some fan mail that we have to go over real quick. Have some fan mail.
We just got a letter. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. Wonder who it's from.
Well, I know who it's from. It's freaking from Carrie E3901. I wanted to address this. The last live I did, I talk about how I was a man's man and how I took care of a wasp's nest that was, although I'm still seeing wasps, so I don't know. Got on the ladder, sprayed these wasps on the roof, and then I get this comment on that live. Pretty sure with a phone call, you could have had those bees safely removed. They're endangered, and when the bee goes, they're taking us with them. So sorry, guys. Sorry for ending humanity by... Shut up! No, they were wasps, you dope. They were wasps, if you're even still subscribed. They weren't honeybees. This wasn't like a honeybee hive that I went to chicken out. They were wasps, and don't you get it twisted. A wasp would kill you and your family and everyone in your family immediately if they could. They were wasps, you know, hornets, yellow jackets. They weren't like little honeybees. I leave little honeybees alone. So, fuck out of here. One of them stung Babe. She had her finger was swollen for like 3 days and it hurt. So bye. Sorry, Carrie. I wasn't killing stupid honeybees. There were wasps, yellow jackets. They would kill you and your family if they could. So fuck out of here with that. All right. Here we go. Thanks everyone for being here. I'm probably going to put this on 1.5 depending on how they sound. I from what I understand, in the beginning there's some audio issues from the court. So just stick through. I'll try I'll see how it is. But I think the audio is not great to begin with. So just a heads up. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Let's see what we got. Sarah Boone, day 1, rewatch. Play. There she is. There's the suitcase and that big... Whoa. Meg. See, Meg knows. My kids jumped on a tree stump and they got attacked by wasps. Yeah, see? They don't make me feel bad about wasps. I let mice go in the woods. I trap them, let them go in the woods. I have a heart. Why are you laughing? By the way, Babe right now is wearing this hoodie blanket I got off the old TikTok shop. All right, I can fast forward this. I just wanted to see the beginning there. All right, we don't have to see all smiles. Sarah Boone, all smiles. What the hell? They have like a tribunal? What's with all those people at the judge's desk there?
I do.
Ma'am, good morning. Can you please state your full name and date of birth for the record for me?
Why? Does anyone know why all these people are back there? What is that?
10-10.
Ma'am, good morning. Can you please state your full name and date of birth for the record for me?
Sarah Boone, 10-10-7-7.
All right. Ms. Boone is seated at counsel's table, wearing a black suit and a pink blouse. She is in custody in this matter. However, there are no restraints that are affixed to her person, so we will be standing when our jury enters and exits. Before we bring in our jury this morning, yesterday the court had reserved on a Richardson hearing regarding Exhibit 2 as identified in the defendant's fifth amended reciprocal discovery exhibit list, specifically 119 pages of records from Advent Health Winter Park that were provided to the state yesterday morning by way of...
Oh, he teaches a class. Well, thank you. That's interesting. I've never seen anything like that. That's wild. That's kind of cool if you're that person on the class.
USB drive. Yesterday, the court had ordered that the defense was to provide an edited version of only the records pertaining to anxiety and the lack thereof, or anything pertaining to those matters, but before 9 a.m. this morning. Was that done, Mr. Owens?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. J, have you the opportunity to review the culled down list of 119 documents?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is remaining of those 119 specific JPEG images, and what do they pertain to?
I got this at 1.5. Like, do you guys want me to just go right to the opening statements? Do you want to watch this? I don't know. I hadn't thought about this.
Deal with just billings, observations by the medical personnel, so on, it necessarily apply to the issue of anxiety, as the court indicated. I did include certain pages that discuss the
Yes, this is the old suitcase right here.
depression issues, as I believe that they were related to anxiety. And I've identified 4 or 5 other pages that are not anxiety related, or maybe the case.
Of those 119 images, how many are being sought? 15? Okay, thank you. State response.
Thanks, Simi. Oh my God, Meg P gifted out 10 memberships. Thank you so much, Meg P. You are the best. Taryn gets one. Wesley gets one. Dr. Artie gets one. Jonathan Borden gets one. Eileen S gets one. Marcy K. Amby. Athea. Pruey. Mofi. Thank you so much, Meg. Coming in hot.
Apparently, these are all just related to a January 23rd, 2018 admission at Advent Health Winter Park. So,
Babe says opening statements, and I do what Babe says. So let's... What? I can't hear. All right, hold on.
We can address any argument at that time as to why that should be included. Anything further, state, before we bring in our jury?
Judge, the defense team has indicated to me that they intend on using demonstrative aids during opening statement. The ones that I've seen include jury instructions that may not be given and may not be given in the way that the court gives, and photographs that could be coming into evidence. I identified at least one that I don't recognize as something they sought to be seeking into evidence, perhaps 2. So I believe we should have a discussion about each and every one of those. They should each be marked for the record purposes by letter so that we can refer to them and make a record. I believe it's in the court's discretion, even though I rarely see it exercised in this way in this circuit, to allow the respective parties to refer to actual exhibits during opening statements. I would urge the court not to allow that. They're going to see them soon enough, but particularly with what they are seeking to introduce, given the motion in limine ruling that the court has already issued, that at this point in time, the latest proffer with the defendant's testimony is not amounting to an overt act that will result in a self-defense instruction, that will result in prior instances of violence coming in, that it would be extremely prejudicial, dangerous, and to use Mr. Cacciatore's analogy, very impossible to put that toothpaste back in the tube if we amplify our opening statements, which may or may not come to fruition when we start talking about these past instances and battered spouse syndrome, it would be greatly amplified if they're actually seeing exhibits of the defendant's past injuries that she's attributing to the decedent. So I'm asking for us to discuss that.
Response before we go through each photo.
Judge, the defense is self-defense. Sarah's going to testify that she was defending herself. We believe the court's going to rule we're entitled to put on a case involving self-defense. And under the instruction for justifiable use of non-deadly force and the justifiable use of deadly force.
I'm not discussing the jury instructions at this time.
There are evidence of prior threats of prior events of violence under that instruction. Under the self-defense justifiable use.
Here's my concern. Why are we addressing law in opening statement?
Well, I agree with the state attorney. I did quote up a couple of these on the justifiable use of non-deadly force.
That does not answer my question.
I would agree not to use them.
Okay.
The two I'm interested in using and opening is this day of instruction. It is up to you to decide what evidence is reliable. You should use your common sense in deciding which is the best evidence and which evidence should not be relied upon in civil.
I mean, you can't even hear this jabroni, so I guess I'm going to fast forward through this.
What we anticipate about the law, we'll both have an opportunity to have that opportunity in court and
the response.
Instruction you gave as in every
doing without either. It's inappropriate to be delving into pieces and.
Whoa, just got a $30 Venmo from Marsha. Miss you and love your channel. Thank you so much, Marsha. Appreciate that very much.
Portions of jury instructions before when
we give them the law at the very end. Standard in considering the credibility of witnesses. I think.
All right, let's just get to the opening statements. Come on.
All these, all these exhibits, except
And read.
My Lanta, how long did they take on this?
Juror number 4.
Sarah, the defendant will say, for everything you've done.
They're going to provide. But remember, these are not evidence. This is just the party's belief as to what the facts and the evidence will show in this case. As for the conclusion of the opening statements, we'll begin with the state's case.
I like this gentleman's mustache. This guy has a good mustache over here, it looks like.
In chief through witnesses. With that, Mr. J, you may proceed, sir.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, what the evidence in this case is going to show you is that this defendant zipped Jorge Torres shot in a suitcase.
All right, let me try the volume booster, if I even have it still. That's not it. Oh. See if this works.
She was able to do this because at the time of his death, he only weighed 103 pounds. And she did this with the malicious intent to punish him. 2 days of court. It's within your discretion whether we're going to start using exhibits during opening statement.
What's the other issue, sir?
I need to approach eventually.
Okay. With regard to the video, not go.
Sorry, is that better, guys? I don't want to blow out your eardrums, though.
Great. Cases, things to confer that you complied with the court's instructions. All right, the record will reflect that all jurors have raised their hands. Members of the jury, yesterday I told you that you may happen to see the lawyers in the courtroom or in the courthouse going about their affairs, and again, they're not trying to avoid you or speak to you because they're not allowed to. Did anyone happen to ride in 3 from my left, first row to right, first row? Yes, sir, Mr.
Sorry, guys, trying to figure out the volume.
Asked, was there any 3? Asked that you.
Here we go. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, what the evidence in this case is going to show you is that this defendant zipped Jorge Torres shot in a suitcase. She was able to do this because at the time of his death, he only weighed 103 pounds. And she did this with the malicious intent to punish him. And then she went up to sleep and left him to take his final breaths on this earth alone. How many breaths those were, we don't know. The evidence is going to show that it was at least for about 15 minutes, because there's going to be 2 videos, that the defendant herself took of this event. The evidence is going to show George Torres is dead because in this defendant's judgment, he deserved it. Now, the conscious disregard for whether he lived or died, you will see and hear these videos. What I expect you will hear from a video that began at 11:12 p.m., 45 seconds, on February 23rd, 2020, in Orange County, Florida, is a suitcase on the ground, face down, with the zippers facing the floor. You will hear, Sarah. The defendant will say, for everything you've done to me. Sarah. For everything you've done to me. Sarah. Fuck you. And then the defendant laughs. Sarah. Fuck you. And the defendant laughs. Sarah. Stupid. Sarah. That's my name. Don't wear it out. Sarah. I can't fucking breathe, baby. Seriously. Yeah. That's what you do when you choke me. Sarah. 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 The defendant laughs again. Sarah, I can't breathe, babe. She laughs again. That's on you. Sarah, I can't breathe. She laughs again. Unintelligible words. And I would submit the evidence is going to show, because of the intoxication from alcohol, is the next thing she says. Sarah. Sarah. Sarah, I can't breathe, baby. That's what I feel like when you cheat on me. Sarah. Fuck you. I can't fucking breathe, Sarah. You should probably shut the fuck up. Sarah. Shh. Is the last thing you will hear the defendant say to Mr. Torres as he is face down, zipped shut, in a suitcase. That, again, began at 11:12:45 and lasts just over 2 minutes. At 11:23 and 3 seconds p.m., there's a second 22-second video, and it's the defendant zooming in on the suitcase. And all you hear during this 22 seconds, after he's been in this suitcase since at least 11:12 p.m., is one more time, Sarah. How did we get to this point where 103-pound George Torres left to die? Well, the next morning, the defendant wakes up, late morning, perhaps early afternoon, somewhere in this time range, several hours later. And she goes downstairs, and she doesn't see George anywhere, just Torres, and eventually realizes, oh my God, he's in the suitcase. The first thing she does after taking him out, and I believe you will hear a description by the defendant saying, he took his little legs out. At some point she makes that statement. And tries to resuscitate him. Hears gurgling as she presses down on his 103-pound chest, forcing whatever air was trapped in there out and gurgling. Then the next thing she does is she doesn't call 911. She calls Brian Boone. Who's Brian Boone? Well, Brian Boone is her ex-husband. They share a child in common. And this date, February 24th, 2020, is a Monday. A normal work day for most people. School day for their child that they share in common. But after they got divorced, the arrangement was every other weekend, no co-parent. And that weekend included Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's got 3 scheduled. And then Mondays and Tuesdays, their child would be her responsibility. And Wednesdays and Thursdays, their child would be Mr. Brian Boone's responsibility. So February 23rd, 2020 was a Sunday. And now he's led into Monday, February 24th, 2020. Mr. Boone had been trying, actually, to contact the defendant several times that morning. Because he just wanted to confirm she was going to get their child after school that day. And there had been a history of reliability issues on that issue on her part. So you will see in the phone record, he calls her and calls her and calls her. And then she finally calls him back instead of calling 911. And being the nice co-parent that he is, he comes over. It's a short drive, 5 to 10 minutes. And as she's explaining to him what the heck is going on, he peeks into the front door of her townhouse, which allows you a view all the way to the back sliding glass door. You're going to see that her kitchen is off to the right, but there's a doorway that you can see all the way through. And on the back side of the kitchen in the breakfast room area, there's tables and stuff. There's also some blue legs sticking out in view. Brian Boone says, check please. You need to call 911. He doesn't set foot into that townhouse. He does wait outside though, being the good co-parent that he has been. So now, after having first called her ex-husband, after having first waited for Brian Boone to come over, the defendant makes the 911 call. What you will not hear are tears. What you will not hear is sorrow.
Did you guys see how I lowered that, the booster, when I saw him go over? I'm a pro at this. I'm no rookie in this game.
You will hear a certain level of concern. My boyfriend and I were playing last night. Put him in a suitcase, and we were playing hide-and-seek kind of thing. I fell asleep. Found him dead in the suitcase this morning. I don't know what happened. He had blood coming out of his mouth. Don't know if it was an aneurysm. Pulled him out of the suitcase, tried to give him CPR. He was in the suitcase and I fell asleep. He's not awake, he's purple, he's not breathing. There's some instructions about how to do CPR given to her, asking about whether an AED is available to shock his heart. It's too late. He's cold, he's stiff, he's purple. We were playing hide and seek. We were playing hide and seek. This is horrible. This is horrific what happened. Like, what happened? We were playing hide and seek last night and I fell asleep. So she mentions that there was blood coming out of his mouth. And his body, like all bodies in suspicious deaths, was taken to the 9th District Medical Examiner's office in autopsy. What the doctor found.
Not Your Edits. Member Bo for 7 months. Thank you so much, Not Your Edits. Yeah, you're not kidding, Wesley. These mics, this is going to be a little challenge to keep switching back and forth. My main goal is not to blow any of your eardrums out when I come on, so hopefully I don't do that.
Was what we expect after being left in the suitcase, talking about the fetal position. He passed from positional asphyxiation, meaning like you're not going to get full breaths when you're crumpled up like an accordion, and environmental suffocation. You don't have to have a plastic bag over your head, tape shut with a full roll of duct tape to seal it off 100% and be worthy of the vacuum of space to environmentally suffocate. It's close enough if you can't get the oxygen and the CO2 coming in and out of your environment. But she also did notice, yeah, he suffered from blunt force trauma on his torso, in his face, his mouth. She'll use words to
Joanne, 12 months, 1 year. Jay, Mr. Jedi and I have missed you. We have missed you. Thanks so much for being here, and thank you so much for being a Super Bow for a year. Thank you, thank you.
We'll help her explain confusions and bruises. She'll use words like hematomas. We'll help her understand for you all that means bleeding under the skin and blood, what you expect from a bruise. That's why they're running through. But he had all this additional trauma. He had trauma on his fingers as well. So now, the sheriff's office, Orange County Fire Rescue show up, and the defendant interacts with the first patrol officer. You will see and hear that body-worn camera. And it's more of the same of what we heard on the 911 call. I see, it was good. I fell asleep. I don't know what happened. A few hours later, the detectives from the homicide unit at the Orange County Sheriff's Office approach her and are ready to interview her after doing some initial things, which includes grabbing her cell phone, off of a counter that was found at a suitcase by Mr. Torres, and giving it to one of their digital forensic examiners, who we'll hear from later in the trial. No alarm. But it's time to give a first interview with the defendant. So they do a first interview with the defendant in one of their unmarked detective patrol cars there on the scene. And the basics of this remain the same, but there's a little more elaboration, as you would expect from trained detectives versus getting the 911 call taken. But the basics of what the defendant tells them is we had wine, we painted, we drew, we did puzzles. The particular wine we had was a Chardonnay from the Woodbridge winery. The bottles, plural, are in the trash. We started about 4 p.m. after Mr. Torres went to the store. Puzzles, art, listening to music, enjoying each other's company. We were just literally just enjoying one another's company. The other bottle of wine that was left over from Boone wasn't even half full, so the description she is saying is 1 bottle of wine and plus a fraction of a bottle of wine left over from the night before. Ladies and gentlemen, not all bottles of wine are made the same. Many of us may envision what you would expect at a restaurant. Those are 750s, 750 milliliters of that. Bottles of wine that were recovered from the defendant's trash can were 1.5 liters, so the equivalent of 2 standard bottles of wine. A 1.5 liter bottle of wine is 50 ounces. Given that a standard serving of wine is 5 ounces, you can begin to do the math. And there's receipts. The day before, Saturday, February 22nd, 2020, there is a receipt from Publix for a bottle of Woodbridge wine for $9.74. And then Sunday at 12:17 p.m., there is another receipt for $9.74 for a Woodbridge Chardonnay bottle of wine. And then at about 5:30 in the afternoon on February 23rd, again, there is another receipt for the same bottle of wine for the same price. And those 2 bottles of wine were recovered. They're going to be produced to you in evidence, and you will see that they are, in fact, Magnum bottles of wine. So that's the context of that.
Magnum? Is that the real term for that size of bottle of wine? Magnum?
Dealing with when we hear things like, we only had 1 bottle of wine, and we finished what was left in the bottle of wine from before. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's 2 1.5 liters that apparently were consumed by a 103-pound man and the defendant, who is in the same weight class. Plus, if you believe that the defendant and the decedent would leave leftover wine from any given day.
Learn something new every day. I did not know that was a term. I am not a wine drinker.
Any additional wine that was remaining from the 1.5 liters from Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a lot of wine. So in that context, we were just having wine, enjoying each other's company. At one point, we play hide and seek. She says she didn't zip it up all the way. There was enough room, in her words again, there was enough room for his little fingers to get out. We were still having a good time and whatever. And basically, Mr. Torres is stressing out about jobs, his ex-wife, about money, and so they're just doing puzzles and doing things to keep his mind off of it, doing art, playing with the dogs, dancing with the dogs, playing hide and seek. We were always trying to outdo each other where we could find each other the best. When they started playing hide and seek, she went up to the shower and then got tired of hanging out in the shower and came down, and that's when she found him playing around in the suitcase. We both thought it was funny. I'm going to zip you up. 2 little fingers could stick out. And she went upstairs thinking, he'll get out, we're going to have sex and go to sleep and call it a day. It was a good day. She insists that they had wine, but we're not drunk. You will be able to assess that for yourselves when you hear the recording she made. No ill will between us last night. Last argument, maybe last week. Don't really argue. We came home, drink, smoke, did art, listen to music, play with the dogs. We drink what we can afford. We used to be able to afford liquor, but now we can only afford wine. And that's how that day ends with the police. She goes and sleeps and stays at her ex-husband's house the night of February 24th and 25th. What they are doing, and by they I mean the Orange County Sheriff's Office in part, is going through her phone. That's when they discovered the 2 videos that I just described for you. And there's other things in the phone, which I will discuss with you in a little bit. But she's summoned in for another interview, and she sits down and gives another interview on February 25th, now Tuesday. She does describe past instances of violence. You're going to hear about that. She's going to say, Mr. Torres had hit her with a curtain rod about a month ago. Since then, though, we've been good. I've been good. She describes that he comes at her all the time. He comes at me. So it's either I flee or I try to go upstairs and go to sleep. That's usually what it is. I don't know if you talk to Brian, her husband, about any of that, but most of the time I flee and I go over there. There's a discussion about why she stays with him, and you'll hear that for yourself. She will say that she doesn't really want to drink. She just takes an occasional drink. She drinks to placate him, Mr. Torres. She says that you're going to see phone videos of Mr. Torres smashing her TV in the past, like a month earlier. You may see that too. But she doesn't get drunk. When she drinks, she likes being non-compos mentis, her words, not mine, having her wits about herself.
Compos mentis?
Then she gets to the hide and seek again and describes that they've played it 3 times before, but had never zipped one another shut in it before. And they were really just running out of places to hide because it's just a townhome. She does not remember, according to her, she does not remember taking any photos or videos of the night's events. At this point, they ask her, well, would you like to see it? And she says, I can't watch this. I flipped them over, and that's where it was. Guys, this is killing me right now. That's why I flipped it over between the 2 videos. I didn't do anything intentional. Discussion over whether he had enough room to get any of his fingers out from the zipper. My intention was not to leave him there. We both got in there. Both of us were in there. When she went upstairs, my plan was not to, quote, he'll be up here any minute. My plan wasn't to leave him in the suitcase. Why is all this going on? It's the drinking. That's what it is. It's the drinking. I thought he was okay. Guys, that's how we were with each other. Nobody understands our relationship. This whole suitcase thing never happened before, though she described it happening before. I'll never drink alcohol again. She insists that she has no injuries on her, and you don't have to take her word for it because they took photographs of her and there were no injuries on her. She insists over and over that there was no violence that day. It's like, okay, we're in a good place right now. They ask her about saying fuck you to Mr. Torres. Well, that's just being playful and having a good day. Everybody's having a good day. I didn't touch him, nor did he touch me. Her words. What else is found on her phone? There's a conversation between Mr. Torres' brother, and again, nobody knows who's using these phones at the time text messages are sent in these records that you're going to see. But it's indicated that there's a communication between one of the decedent's brothers and the owner of the phone that was taken that belongs to Ms. Boone. The text from the brother is, yo, my daughter told me what you did, Sarah. I don't want you around any of my daughters or nieces, nephews. And that's Christmas 2019, just under 2 months before this event. She replies, or the person using her device at this time, ugh, your quote-unquote dad hit me in the face. The next text is, hide and seek, I shall.
Whoa, she premeditated this bitch? This is before?
January 13th, there's another heated discussion. She describes it on January 13th in a text to Mo, the brother again. It's a Torres thing. Boo. Sends a picture. Keep the fugly creep out too. It's still fugly. Lose. The brother responds, please do something with yourself, Sarah. God bless you. The defendant's response, and bless you and all of you too. I'll get, in all capitals, rid of him. Then it'll be, in all capitals, better. Ugh. Torres. Referring to Mr. Torres. Getting rid of.
Bro, she what? First of all, Betty just bought me a coffee. Good to see you, Jay. Hope all is going well. Thank you so much, Betty. I did not know there was, like, she said the shit before about hide and seek and getting rid of him. Why wouldn't it be? Why is it second degree? I mean, I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but that's.
And that's the case. That's what the evidence.
Whoops, gotta put this back on.
Going to show. But we, the state of Florida, and the members of the jury in our journey through this case, we're all going to come up to a door that says, danger, keep out, stay away, by court order. And that door says, the defendant's history with the victim. It is a door we shall not enter without permission and invitation. Halloween in like 13 days. Part of the vampire lore is vampires can't come get you in your house. Why? It's a bigger trial, we're going to be invited in to the defendant's past relationship for the previous couple of years with Mr. Torres. And as we come inside this room, at her beckoning, we are going to have things pointed out that she would like us to focus on. And you're going to hear the first night the defendant met the decedent, Mr. Torres, he smashes her phone, punches her. It's the first time in her life she'd ever been punched, I expect the testimony will be. And he made her curl up in a fetal position on her own porch for 4 hours, and she was only able to escape this situation when he fell asleep. I expect that you're going to hear that Mr. Torres is an alcoholic. I expect you may hear his high score on his blood alcohol level was a 342 once when he got treated at the hospital. This is a man who had serious alcohol problems, and I expect you're going to hear about that. Despite that first date, and this is going to tie into some other things that I expect could possibly come in. Despite
I'm just going to give you my first impressions of this prosecutor. I don't know if I like him. He's made some weird talking about high score, about his high score on a blood test, on a DUI, and he's made some other weird, I don't know. Just giving you my first impressions. I don't know if I like this guy.
that first date, despite at that point in time of this first date not having a relationship, emotional ties, and the things that come along with a relationship that make it harder to break off a relationship, it's one thing to have a bad first date. It's another thing to end a 25-year marriage. Despite that first date, there's a second and a third. Now, these dates are at bars.
Cat Grow gifting a membership to Julie. Thank you so much, Cat. Appreciate it very much.
But, and it just typically ends up, she's going to tell you, I suspect, or you're going to hear that she said one way or another. It's one thing or the other. Like, I ask a dude for a cigarette, Mr. Torres flips out, and I'm going to pay the price. Just things like that. And you're going to hear and potentially see, yes, there were injuries that the defendant is going to attribute to the victim causing her. Black eyes, cuts in the face, perhaps from the curtain rod incident that was mentioned in the police interview happening about a month before this. Bloody ear, a stab wound in the leg, which is perhaps described as sword fighting, playing around in that way. But nonetheless, I suspect you're going to hear and see a lot about their past history. And at the end, if this occurs, if this comes in, the state is going to have the opportunity to take lead of the tour in this room, labeled the defendant and the victim's past history. And I'm not going to go into that now. If this all comes to fruit, the blooms on the tree during the trial, we'll discuss it at the end where it's more appropriate. But I'm asking you to not rush to judgment until you hear all of the evidence in the case. And then apply whether or not these past instances have anything to do with what happened on the other point. Now, like a home inspector, there are experts to come in and kind of help walk everybody through this room, labeled the defendant and the victim's past relationship. I suspect there's a chance you may hear from some experts, psychologists and psychiatrists, about battered spouse syndrome. The state is not challenging in any way that battered spouse syndrome exists. It's well recognized. The experts will tell you all about it. Not disputing that at all. But there's some things that we would hope that you pay attention to during all the testimony, if there is any, about this subject matter. One is that it's not actually a recognized diagnosis in the Bible that they use in mental health called DSM-5-ER. Diagnostic Statistical Manual, version 5, and I think it's text revision or something like that. What it is, and what they describe it as, is kind of a component of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. But because it's not actually in the book, it's like a recipe book. It's like our statute books for lawyers. You go into this book and say you have a particular disorder or diagnosis, it'll say, well, all of us agree that it means these three elements, like elements of crime. Some of these elements have to be prevalent for a certain amount of time, so on and so forth. You imagine it's a cookbook. It gives you the recipe for a diagnosis. But because there's no...
yeah, his just analogies are super weird. He's talking about the room that is her mental state, I guess he's trying to say. Then he's talking about this thing being the Bible, but now it's a cookbook. It's recipes. Like he seems a little all over the place here. I don't know. Just my first impression.
It's not in the cookbook. You may get some disagreement about what it means between experts, but it's kind of like grandma's recipe handed down from generation to generation without being right. But what I expect you'll hear is, it's important for people who don't have experience in certain abusive relationships that are violent to understand the control that can be exerted over an intimate partner by the other one, isolation, psychological violence, emotional violence, physical violence, sexual violence, which I suspect will be described for you as well by the defendant, perpetrated on her by the decedent. You'll hear about all this. And what it ties into, at the end of the day, after we talked about this during jury selection, is if there is a self-defense instruction read to you, this is to help you understand what an objective and reasonable person in the circumstances would do. Because years ago, we've gotten better as a society. Years ago, when this was first being researched, the question would be, well, why wouldn't you leave? In fact, spouse syndrome and the testimony from these experts help explain those things to people. Well, it's not that easy. You got to look at what's going on in the relationship, the isolation, control, so on and so forth. And that explains why you wouldn't leave. Well, now, but turning to the facts of our case, what you're going to decide the facts are is ordinary, objective, reasonable person in those circumstances taking those actions if you get a self-defense instruction as part of that. That's what it's used for. It's not used for explaining the subjective belief that one holds. What you will also hear about these things is, just like any other doctor or any expert, like a home inspector. If a home inspector's report was based solely on the person who's trying to sell the house, what they say about the house, great shape. I rewired the entire thing. Brand new JDC pipes. This sucker's good to go. I agree with this. Isn't that? You're not going to take that home inspector's report unless they lift the hood, take the tires, do all the things that the box, I'm careful, in the Carfax does. You want an expert to get reliable information, an expert's opinion.
I mean, he's talking about a home inspector, and then he's talking about lifting the hood and kicking the tires of a Carfax. Someone needs to teach this man some analogies. He is all over the place with them, sir.
Only is the information that he or she relies on. They will say, yeah, you gotta take into account the credibility of the person who's giving the story, even if it's the patient, the client that is saying all these things happen to her. You gotta find proper information. You gotta check reliability, particularly in circumstances that we discussed in the case. So another thing that they're going to tell you is just because there's a bunch of violent nonsense going on between two intimate partners doesn't mean that spouse syndrome applies. Some people can go home and fight like cats and dogs. And that's just their day, and they get over it. They live their life to fight another day. Their cycle just spins like that. So just because you hear about those things, what the experts will tell you, doesn't mean that it necessarily applies. If this testimony comes in, I expect that Dr. Harper will say that it applies to Ms. Boone. But we'll talk to her about what she relied upon to make that conclusion. We'll talk to her about some other things and take that journey together to get there. But at the end of the day, after you hear all of the evidence in this case, particularly straight from the horse's mouth, the video, where you don't have to rely upon the credibility of anything other than your own two eyes and your own two ears, the state's admits that you're going to return a guilty verdict for second-degree murder. What the evidence is going to show is that the defendant killed Mr. Torres because she decided he deserved it. Not because the evidence will show an objective, reasonable person in her circumstances needed to. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. J. Any opening remarks by the defense?
And I'm muted. Sorry about that. I was all cocky before, and then I just let a little loud moment there catch. Supposedly the mics get better here, hopefully soon.
Judge, can we invoke the rule? It has been.
I've already advised the witnesses.
Okay, the rule sequestration will be invoked. Thank you. You may proceed, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Appreciate y'all being here. I was introduced before.
Damn it, I can't hear this jabroni either now.
My name is James Owens, and I represent Sarah Boone, along with Tony Henderson and Kevin Day. Now, this is going to be several day talk. Obviously today, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, we're not sure, but trying to make arrangements for witnesses to fly in, expert witnesses and whatnot, and we'll know more probably at the end of the day when we Monday, so we can plan. But I know your focus is on this case because you took the notes. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no higher call than the right one. No higher call than the right one. And we're going to ask you again about this story. You find Sarah Boone not guilty because she was justified in the force that she used to defend herself. If that force was reasonable under the circumstances that existed between Sarah Boone and George Torres. Sarah Boone and George.
There is the boom. We bring the boom. Donna White bringing the boom. 10 memberships. Thank you so much, Donna. Elizabeth gets one. Renia gets one. Amy gets one. Chloe and Sally get one. Creative Minds. LB. Carla. Get your Capri Suns in the chat, everybody. Thank you so much, Donna. You are the best. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I think we got the audio now. I think it's better now.
George Torres were down and out, as you can be. Their lives centered around alcohol. Both of them suffered from, used to be called alcoholism, now it's called alcohol abuse syndrome. And so day to day, they struggle.
Wait, it's not called alcoholism anymore? That's a new thing? I didn't know that.
With the use of alcohol. You can imagine that. It affected their jobs. It affected keeping employment. It affected even getting a job. As codependent as you can be towards each other. And you're going to learn, with all that, was domestic violence. And that George Torres physically abused Sarah Boone. And she suffered from the effects, the psychological effects that one suffers from repeat violence from an intimate partner. They were together over 3 years. And there were several prior incidences of violence. We've got the photographs. There were incidences where police were called who took photographs. So you're going to be able to see the evidence. And we believe the court will instruct you at the end when you're considering self-defense, which we call justifiable use of non-deadly force or justifiable use of deadly force, that you can consider the prior acts, the history of violence, the prior difficulties that the parties had. In considering her set of circumstances that she was faced with in making the decision to use reasonable force under the circumstances. And the most important thing I can tell you here today is keep an open mind. There's two sides to every story. You're going to hear the state's side in attempting to paint her a certain way, as they've done here today in opening statement. And then you're going to hear another side. And you're going to have to weigh that. All the evidence, the credibility of the witnesses, the photographs, the videotapes, and come to a conclusion. Now let's talk about this day, February 23rd of 2020, the date of this event. This case has been pending for some time. Here we are, October of 2024. I think the evidence is going to show that they had purchased some wine the day before, but they hadn't finished all of that. So it was in the refrigerator. Many times that's how they start their day.
Amanda, Super Bowl for 10 months, says, I hope your job knows how lucky they are to have you. We miss you here. Thank you for spending your time with us. Thank you for being here. Miss all you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Amanda. Whoops.
At some point, you're going to see a video from Publix, from where they live. I believe it's Winter Park. But Publix was not too far from their apartment complex. And they took their car, they drove over there. So you're going to see a videotape from Publix of them both going in the store about noon, and they come out with one of those larger bottles of the wine. And then, of course, there's a receipt, and the bottles are in the garbage can. Of course, there obviously is an attraction between the two. And as everybody knows, couples can have great times where things click, everybody gets along, and then we can have episodes of disagreement. And how are those resolved? Really, is what this is about. How are disagreements resolved? But George was very jealous of Sarah, and you're going to hear the testimony about that. And that he cannot, in certain situations, he can be very charming. But when his level of intoxication gets to a certain level, is when he gets sad, moody, and a lot of times eventually it involved forcible sex with Sarah Boone or actual physical violence against her. They bought the wine. It's a simple life. They don't have much money, but they both like art. They did that for a while. They both like puzzles. They did that for a while. Well, about 5 or so, the wine bottle was gone. And George had said, I want to go get some cigarettes. So there's a convenience store right close by their apartment complex, and Sarah thought he was just going to walk over there and get cigarettes and come back. But no, what he did was he got her keys, he got her debit card, and he went over to the Publix and he got another bottle. And I think that was about 5:30, something like that. And again, there'll be the Publix video showing him going in and going out, and there'll be a receipt for the purchase of that bottle, and then there'll be that bottle will be in the garbage can along with the other bottle. Well, when he comes in with the second bottle, Sarah knows this is not good. She knows this means he's going to get to another level of intoxication. So Sarah's concerned. She attempts to placate him, keep him busy, keep him in a good mood. They drink that bottle, or she drinks as well. And at some point, they're intoxicated at a high level. As some people do when they're drunk, they get silly. And they decide to play a game of hide and seek.
Yeah, that is real fucking silly.
She goes upstairs, their bedroom's upstairs, to the shower, and waits for a period of time. And he doesn't come to her. At some point, she gets cold, she gets tired. She wants to go see, well, maybe we got it mixed up. Where is he? So she goes downstairs, and they had gotten a suitcase down a week or so ago. It's an old suitcase that they were going to donate to Helping Hands or Goodwill or somebody, and they were putting some items in there. And it's a broken down suitcase. It's a large suitcase. They both weigh about 100 pounds. And they don't eat good. Malnourished to a large degree. But the pull handle is broken off. And they've attached a little paper clip that's got the rubber around it. And that's how they move back and forth. Well, she comes down the steps. She sees him getting in and settling in the suitcase. So she walks over there, and they see each other, they smile and laugh, and she zips him up. And she zips him up, and they laugh for a while. And they carry on. She sits on the couch, and at some point he says, I can't breathe. Now, his face is facing the zipper, and she's got 2 or 3 inches that she's opening. And she doesn't know. They're intoxicated. She doesn't know whether he's just saying that to try to get her to get him out or what.
What's his defense? She doesn't know if he's cheating. He's cheating at the game. She can't tell if he's cheating. She found him, but that's not... She has to touch...
But he's a captive audience.
He's a captive audience, Broseph. Brotato.
Physically, they're the same size, but he's much stronger than her. If they got in a fist fight, he would win 100 times out of 100. but she's got him now. He claims he can't get up. He has to sit and listen. It's a unique form of physical restraint. And so she lets him have it. Says things she shouldn't say. You'll see the video. It's about 2 minutes long. She videotapes it. She sits on the couch and turns her phone on and videotapes it for about 2 minutes. There's another video that's approximately 11 minutes later. The first video, George's, the suitcase is flipped upside down. The zippers are off. 11 minutes later, Sarah has flipped it right side up. Again, open for him to get out. And it's only 22 seconds. And you hear George say, Sarah. And that's it. Now, the key to the case is that 11 minutes. And what happened during that 11 minutes. Okay? That is the key to this case. Sarah Boone will take the stand. She will explain what happened. She will explain why it happened. The evidence will show that she was justified in the action she took to prevent an attack from George Torres, which the law acknowledges that every one of us has a right to invoke, the right of self-defense.
By the way, if you missed this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I saw this post, but Sarah is going to be just like Tellis, where it's just narrative when she gets on the stand. That's going to be like insane to see. It's not going to be like, you know, him asking her, unless I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I saw this. It's just going to be her fucking narrative, just talking, because attorneys do that because they don't want to like help with perjury or whatever. But if you remember the Robert Tellis case where he just got up there and like talked to the jury, from what I understand, that's going to be the same fucking thing.
You can hear from the medical examiner. She is going to tell you about some bruising on George Torres. Of course, he was in the suitcase a while, deceased, we believe. And that changes things a little bit, as the medical examiner will explain. But there's some bruising. Sarah's going to explain that to you. Why that happened. What were the circumstances surrounding that? Involving that. Her son comes and stays with him from time to time. He has his own room. He has several of his things there. And there's a bat downstairs. The same bat that George Torres used, and there's a video where George is threatening Sarah. And he's swinging the bat at the TV about as hard as he can. And he does it about 6 or 7 times. You'll see it. Sarah's recording. And it's during an argument. And he's trying to intimidate. Sarah loved you. You know, you're going to hear why women don't leave. Why women don't leave. And you're going to hear about Sarah Boone and her struggles, her mental health struggles. Sarah had no intent to kill. The prosecutor mentioned she wanted him to die. Farthest from the truth. She loved her man. She hated the abuse. She couldn't leave him. She tried. She tried taking him out 6 or 7 times. He kept coming back. She changed the locks. He kept coming back. She didn't have the family. She didn't have the support. She was weak, vulnerable. You're going to hear it all. You've got to take that all into account to try to understand what happened and the circumstances surrounding this tumultuous relationship. Now, you're going to find that Sarah's not perfect.
Really?
And, she goes, as many of us do when we drink too much, you sleep in. She slept in. 11, 12, 1, somewhere around there. She moseys downstairs looking for George.
Just got 5 coffees from Evan Duke. Happy Saturday seeing Jay live. Thank you so much, Evan. I very, very much appreciate that. Thank you.
She thought he was on the computer looking for a job. She looked outside. Maybe he's out smoking a cigarette. And she sees a suitcase. She unzips it. She gets him out. He's purple. She tries her best to do some CPR. She freaks out. The only family she's got is her ex-husband. Really. She relies on him. As the prosecutor said, a lot of times she'll flee to her ex-husband's house. And where her son is at. Lucas. It's the only thing she knows to do. She was kind of a sheltered daughter when she was younger. She's smart, but she's not worldly. And she calls, Brian, what do I do? He said, I'm coming over. Please come over. He's about 5 minutes away. And she calls him again within a couple of minutes. Yeah, I'm on the way. He gets there. He walks in the foyer and sees his legs. And she called 911. She calls 911 within a minute, 2. Detective Rodriguez arrives. They got the body cam now, so it's recorded. So you're going to hear Sarah talking. But Sarah's freaking out. Sarah's thinking, and I'm somehow responsible. Eventually, she gives a statement to law enforcement. She gives one to Detective or Deputy Rodriguez. Of course, she's not the homicide investigator. She's just responding. She's the first responder. And they know what to do. They try to assess the situation. They start putting the tape out, and then they call for the homicide investigators to come, which takes a little time. So she gets a statement from Sarah. Eventually, the homicide detectives get a statement from Sarah and one of the unmarked squad cars, and it's recorded. You may hear that. And then the next day, they take Sarah's phone. Sarah gives them the phone, signs the consent to take the phone, take it to, they have phone extraction people at the sheriff's department where they can take it and take out all the data, all your phone calls, text messages, photographs, videos, all of it. And they find these 2 videos. Sarah's not aware. She doesn't remember making the video. You can imagine.
Yeah, no shit, she doesn't. Jennifer Adams, $25 Venmo. Missed you, Jay. So happy to catch you live. I miss all you guys, and I'm glad I'm doing this. So thank you so much, Jennifer. I really appreciate it.
She gives them the phone. Of course, she makes no attempts to do anything other than, here's the phone. So they tell her, you're going to get your phone back tomorrow. We'll bring it back to you tomorrow. Well, they end up having a conversation with the female detective, homicide detective, Copsel is her name, Chelsea Copsel. And they end up, Deputy Copsel is pregnant, or Detective Copsel is pregnant. They end up, hey, we're not going to bring your phone. I'm not feeling good. Pregnant. Can you come to the sheriff's department? Which Sarah Boone was telling me that was what I was going. That's what they told me I was going to the sheriff's department for. Well, instead it was an interrogation, and they were going to arrest her. They made their mind up already, and they were going to confront her and try to get her to confess based on the 2 videos. And so there was approximately a 2-hour interrogation that was on the 25th in the afternoon when she got there to get her phone. They said, well, we got to come up here. We need to talk to you. And they got her in the room. It's a small room, but it's being videotaped and audio taped. And it goes on for about 2 hours of them trying to get a confession to murder. And it doesn't happen. But Sarah lies. She's scared. She can tell they're trying to pin her on this, that this was some kind of intentional act, and it was not. So she lies. She's not a lawyer. She doesn't know about self-defense. She doesn't understand she has a lawful right to defend herself. She doesn't understand that she's justified in using the force that she used. She doesn't. I wasn't there to advise her. No lawyer was there. So she lied. And you're going to hear that. So you're going to have to balance that versus her taking a stand and testifying for you. And we simply ask that you look for the evidence of cooperation of her testimony. It's going to be later, probably next week. The judges will tell you in reading instruction on evaluating a witness's credibility. And they'll talk about corroborative evidence, other evidence that's consistent with the testimony that Sarah Boone would give. So you're going to have to weigh that in her testimony. Now, self-defense, we talked about it in jury selection, usually a gun, some deadly weapon. The suitcase in this case was a physical restraint or a blocking of an attack, but it was unconventional. Self-defense, nonetheless.
Unconventional or just not self-defense? I mean, what? Self-defense?
Now, as I said, the struggles that occurred, many of them involved the police. So you're going to actually hear from some of the police officers. Maybe some body cam footage. You're going to see some photographs that they took of the injuries to Sarah Boone. And some of the videos you may see of her in a very happy, joyful type of thing. Well, number one, she's intoxicated. Number two, she's safe, at least a bit. So her attitude is not one of distress. We're here today, full packed courtroom. Judge Craven's here, but you're the most important people. Because you've got to decide this case honestly, fairly, and according to the law. And we talked about the two biggest principles from the Constitution that apply. In this case, and in every case in which a citizen like Sarah Boone is brought into a courtroom accused of a crime. The first is, you as a juror must presume or believe that Sarah is innocent. And that belief stays with you throughout the entire trial. Because of that, she doesn't have to prove anything. That's why the state went first in jury selection. That's why the state went first today. That's why the state will go first putting on their case. They have the burden of proof, and it's the highest burden we recognize in any type of litigation in this country. Proof beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. You are going to have doubts about this case. But the most important thing is not to rush to judgment, to keep an open mind, and understand there's two sides to this case. There's their side and there's our side. So you can't form any fixed opinions early on. That's hard to do, as Mr. Henderson said in jury selection. That's extremely hard to do. Now you're going to hear some testimony. There's been mention of experts. Battered women's experiences affect her perception of imminent danger. Battered women's experiences affect her perception of imminent danger. Victims of repeat violence may fear death in a situation others would not. After hearing both sides of this case, we're confident you're going to have a reasonable doubt. And we're going to ask you to follow the law and do justice in this case. And find Sarah Boone not guilty. Because it's the right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The party's break for a moment.
All right. Well, we can do a little shots and then we can fast forward. Thank you all so much for being here for this rewatch. Again, I'm probably going until I don't know yet. I'll see how it goes. Hi, Drenda. Thanks everyone for being here. Again, this afternoon, I believe, I'm not sure what time, but right now, Ali Mata is in court because Delphi has court on Saturday, if you can believe that, half days. So she's going to be live this afternoon. So I'm going to do this now. I don't know if I'll do it straight up until when I don't know. I'm not sure what time she's going, but going to do it for a little while. Hi, Great Dane Mom. Good to see you. All right, let's fast forward this biatch. Hey, Karen. Good morning.
Mr. Torres, raise your right hand, please. Sworn, please. You swear or affirm the testimony you should give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Sir, good morning. You could be seated. And once seated, if you would state and spell your name for the record for us, please.
Juan Torres, Juantorres.
Thank you, sir. You may inquire, Mr. Cacciatore.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Can you tell us how it is that you know George Torres?
He's my older brother.
And how many siblings do you have?
Six or seven.
And how long has your family
It's a lot of siblings when you're not sure how many there are.
resided here in the Central Florida area?
20 plus years.
And before residing in the Central Florida area, were you guys in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania?
Yes, sir. In Massachusetts.
Your brother, how often, your brother George, that is, how often would you talk with him?
Often we talk, I'd say, on a weekly basis.
And how far away did you live from George?
About 5-10 minutes. Pretty close.
Would you see him pretty often?
I would try not to go there too much.
Who was George living with at the time that he passed away?
Wait, Sarah?
And without getting into many details, what was your relationship like with Sarah?
We didn't really have a relationship.
Would it be fair to say you didn't get along with her?
Yes.
Back on February 23rd, 2020, did you have an occasion to talk to your brother on that day?
Yes, sir.
And when you spoke with your brother on that day, did you FaceTime with him or did you speak with him over the phone?
We talked on the phone.
Was that phone to your ear or was that phone?
It was on speaker.
And who was present?
My wife and my 2 kids.
And without telling us anything that George may have said to you, can you tell us what the topic of that conversation was?
We were just talking like we normally did. He just calling me to check on me, basically.
Now, in the background of that conversation on the evening of February 23rd, 2020, what did you hear?
Sarah's in the background yelling.
And you recognized her voice?
Yes, sir.
What was she yelling about?
Something about choking or how he choked her. I really don't. That was it.
About how long was this conversation that you had?
Maybe 10 minutes, I think it was.
How did the conversation end?
Because she was yelling in the background, so that was it.
Did she sound upset?
She sounded upset.
Did you talk to your brother after that conversation?
No, that was the last conversation I had.
Have you ever spoken to Sarah since that conversation?
No.
I have no further questions.
Any cross-examination?
That's kind of a weird setup with the stenographer like staring you right in the face like that. No, I mean I don't think I've ever seen that's the stenographer, right? I mean she is like right in his face. I would not like that.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
In the beginning, when you started, it was hard for me to hear, but I know you were talking about other siblings, other family members that you had here. Could you repeat that for me, please?
Here in Orlando, I have one sister and 3 brothers.
Sister and 3 brothers?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, did your brother, George Torres, did he ever stay with you at any time?
No.
Would he ever live with you or any of, I mean, not you, but any of your other siblings?
No.
All right, sir. Let's go back to this phone call that you were talking about that was on February 23rd of 2020, and that phone call was approximately 7:30. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And who called to?
He called me.
And then y'all were talking. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And when he called you, did you notice anything about his speech or his voice?
No, he was fine.
Sounded normal?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So he wasn't slurring his words or anything like that?
No.
By the way he talked or what he talked to you about, could you tell at that time if he had been consuming alcohol?
No, because I knew when he would drink.
Okay. So in your opinion at that time, based on what you heard and what he was talking about, you do not believe he had been drinking alcohol?
No.
Now, you said you heard Sarah.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? How did you know it was Sarah?
I can tell her voice.
You recognized her voice. So you could hear her. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And you've heard Sarah speak before that time. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you've heard her speak on the phone before that time. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you said that Sarah was yelling. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
And she was yelling about, he's choking me. Or tell him about choking me.
Yes.
Okay. During that conversation, and you heard her say that, did you ask your brother, what is she talking about?
No, I did not.
Did that statement at that time, did that statement surprise you?
Not really.
You've heard it before?
No.
Based on Sarah's voice that you've heard, was it any indication to you that she had been drinking?
No.
No? Sir, at some point your brother said he had to go, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And did he hang up on the conversation?
Yes.
And did he say bye and you say bye?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I don't have it. If I can confirm.
You may, sir.
Sir, other than siblings, do your mother and father, do they live in this area?
Yes.
Were there times that George would stay with them?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. No further questions.
Any redirect examination?
No, Your Honor.
Hi,
This witness be
Martha.
released.
Yes, Your
Welcome.
Honor.
Defense?
Yeah, Marta, this is a surprise because I'll be honest with you. I was like, if the Mets lose last night, I don't know if I'd been wanting to be on today, but they won, so that was nice. So yeah, but maybe I'll start. Well, if this is only gonna be a 3-day trial, is that what they said? 3 or 4 days? That's pretty wild. I might do some lives next week at night to catch up on some of this.
Actually, we'll keep him subject to recall, Your Honor.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
All right, sir. You're released subject to recall by either party. Thank you.
It was kind of
I think
cool
we'll call
because
Devon Jamro.
Devon Jamro. It was kind of cool because yesterday was Brian's 14th birthday, and he said to me, "This is the first time the Mets have played on my birthday." So that was kind of cool because usually the Mets are done after September. 2 to 3 weeks. That makes more sense. 2 to 3 weeks. All right, so I'll have another Saturday that I'll be able to do this.
Sir, good morning. You can take a seat and please state and spell your name for the record.
My name is Devon Jamro. That's Devinjamro.
Thank you. You may inquire, sir.
Sir, who do you work for?
I work for Public Supermarkets.
And what is your position with public supermarkets?
I am the assistant store manager.
And at what location?
Currently the Castleberry location.
Were you at the location on Goldenrod and University Boulevard back in February of 2020?
Yes, I was.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness which has been previously marked for identification as states D and been shown to defense?
D as in Delta?
D as in Delta.
Yes, you may.
Sir, I'm showing you it's been marked for identification as states D. Could you use these scissors and open this and look at the contents of this package to yourself?
Sure.
I like this guy's haircut. He's got that line down the side. He was ready for court today. This poor guy, he's assistant store manager, assistant to the store manager. Got to come into trial for fucking Sarah Boone.
I do, yes.
And tell us, what are these items?
These are Publix receipts.
Are these receipts evidence of transactions at Publix? Are they made at or near the time of each transaction?
They are absolutely made at the time of the transaction.
And is it in the normal course of business that Publix keeps these receipts?
Yes.
And these fairly and accurately appear to be the receipts from your Publix store?
Yep.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states D into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as states D will be received into evidence without objection as states 1.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness which has been previously marked for identification as states J and shown to defense?
You may.
You're right. He probably did. I hope he didn't lose vacation time. That would really suck. I think if this is like evidence shit, I'm going to put this at least at 1.5. Try to get as much of this day as we can get through with this today.
So I'm showing you it's been marked for identification as states J. Can you take a look at that disc?
I mean, this guy's just... Oh, what's up, Steve? This guy's just getting in receipts.
Do you see your initials on that disc?
I do.
Did you have an opportunity to look at that disc prior to coming to court this morning?
I did, yes.
And tell us, what is that disc?
This is CCTV footage burned from the camera system at the location.
And at Publix, is it the regular practice of Publix to utilize surveillance cameras?
Yes.
And in the normal course of business, are the videos from those surveillance cameras kept?
Yes.
And are these the cameras taken from February 23rd, 2020? And I believe there's 2 video clips included, one at 12:17 p.m. and another at approximately 5:39 p.m.?
Yes.
And they fairly and accurately represent the surveillance video that was submitted from Publix to law enforcement in this case?
They do, yes.
Danielle knows.
The move was previously been marked for identification as states J into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as states J will be received into evidence without objection as states 2.
This guy's got a tan suit. Better not
Any
run
cross-examination?
for
Can
office.
this witness be released?
Yes.
All right, this dude's done. All right. Oh, I like this lady's outfit. I like how the jacket matches the thing on the back. The dress.
Ma'am, good morning. Could you state and spell your name for the record for us?
Okay, Joan, Joan, Williams, Williams.
Thank you, ma'am. Counselor, you may inquire.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Can you tell us what it is that you do for a living?
I'm a 911 call taker at the Orange County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you held that position?
24 years.
And
I mean, if she's just going to verify the call, I'll go until the call. I don't need to hear all the foundation.
tell us what
In an emergency.
of orange time. Or may I approach the witness what's been court this morning.
Yes.
And that the 911 call that you, Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's previously been marked.
No, sir. Right.
All right, we're blowing through witnesses here. Maybe we can get a lot of this day done.
Statement called Vincent Battaglia.
What's up, Cheryl? Good morning.
Raise your right hand to be sworn, please.
This guy is cash. This guy is cash. We got the non-tucked in button-down short sleeve with the khakis. Got some tats showing. This guy's cash.
Sir, you may be seated. After you're seated, if you can state and spell your name for the record for us.
Vincent Battaglia, Vincent Battaglia.
Several piercings.
Thank you. Sir, you may inquire.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Who threw serious shade at the state? Did I miss something? Oh, her.
Can you tell us what it is you do for a living?
Right now I work for an auto parts company.
And where do you live?
New Jersey.
Back on February of 2020, where were you living at that time?
I was living at the Tealwood Apartments in Winter Park, Florida.
And what were you doing at that time when you were living at Tealwood?
I was enrolled in Full Sail University. I was in school.
When you were living at Tealwood, did you have any roommates?
Yeah, I had one roommate, Brandon. Yeah, that was it. Him.
That's Brandon Moes? Yes. Did you have neighbors?
Yeah.
Were you neighbors with Sarah Boone and George Torres?
Yes.
And approximately how long were you neighbors with them?
About a year. A little over a year. I moved there in January 2019.
And during the course of that year that you were neighbors with them, did you have occasion to interact with them at times?
Yeah.
In fact, did you ever go over to their home?
Yeah, like a couple times, yeah.
Imagine being a neighbor to Sarah fucking Boone at an like you're living in an apartment and your neighbor is Sarah Boone, and how nutty that must have had to been. And now you have to be at a trial because your fucking crazy neighbor that used to this dude used to tell all his friends, like, I got this fucking crazy neighbor. You don't understand. She's crazy. And now he's at a fucking trial. That's crazy.
And I believe you tuned the guitar for the child there at the house?
Yeah.
This Tealwood apartment complex, how would you describe the walls that separated your units?
Thin. Like very thin walls.
Oh, and my God. Oh,
with
man.
With those walls being so thin, would you ever have occasion to hear arguing and yelling coming from Sarah Boone and George Torres' apartment?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
How often would you hear this?
Almost daily.
Did Sarah Boone ever approach you about the things that you heard coming from their apartment?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
And where were you when she approached you?
I was smoking a cigarette on my back patio.
And approximately what time?
It was pretty late. I can't remember the exact time, but it was definitely anywhere between like midnight to 2 a.m., like right around there.
And do you remember how much before the date when the police called that this occurred?
A few months, like probably 4 to 5 months before that.
So 4 or 5 months before February of 2020.
Yeah.
And when she approached you,
I mean, even let's take a step. Let's like, not only does he have, so first of all, he lives next to Sarah Boone, thin walls, hears fucking everything, and now they're gonna go over how she went over and talked to him about it, and then one day he comes home or he's leaving his apartment and there's just the police out there and the emergency, and he's like, what the hell? And then he finds out the dude died, and now he's in court. I mean, this poor guy.
You on this late evening / early morning on that day, what did she tell you?
Pretty much just kind of like, if I do hear anything, like through the walls or whatever, just out back, just kind of keep my mouth shut, like don't really speak about it or anything like that.
Oh my God, she told him to keep his mouth shut about what he hears?
Or say anything to anyone, and I just was like, okay.
Did she make any motions with her hands?
Yeah, like just kind of like, finger over the lips, like kind of shh, like keep it hush, like.
God, oh my God, this poor freaking guy.
That kind of thing.
So she told you not to record anything you may have heard about arguments or yelling or fighting, anything going on over there?
Yeah.
Do you recall the evening of February 23rd, 2020?
I do, yeah.
And what about that evening sticks out to you?
The that sticks out to me from that night was literally just there was a very, very loud noise that I heard that was loud and powerful enough to shake my bedroom wall. And I remember that because I was sitting on my bed on FaceTime with my girlfriend at the time, and I literally felt the wall shake, and it stopped me mid-conversation. And she even asked me through the computer, like, what was that? And I was like, I have no idea.
Did you hear any yelling coming from their apartment on that night?
Before that, yeah, like it was just arguing kind of stuff.
What was the last thing you heard?
The last thing I heard was like the loud noise and just a little bit of shuffling, and that was kind of it. It just kind of went silent after that.
Did you hear anything that was being said?
Not clearly, and it was never really anything clear. It was just like you could hear arguing back and forth, just kind of like and kind of like an I hate you, like it's whatever it is, whatever the argument was about kind of thing. At the time, that's really all it was, but it was never really clear enough to hear like a full argument. And honestly, I never really paid attention too much to it. If I heard it, I kind of stepped into my living room to be further away from it.
Did you hear both the defendant's voice and also George Torres' voice?
Yeah, all the time. It was like a back and forth. Yeah.
So other than the statements and the phrases of I hate you, you weren't able to discern the contents of this argument?
No.
What was the last sound you heard?
The last sound that I heard was like the loud banging noise that it was like a very odd sounding noise that I've never heard before this day, but it very much sounded like it was like where my bed was positioned. It was kind of towards the back of the apartment, and it almost sounded like it was coming towards me, but like on the side of me, Then it was just like a loud rumbling noise, like that literally sounded like it was kind of far away from me, and then it like ended up like almost next to me. And like I said, the walls are thin, so like it's very easy to hear.
Yeah, that was Sarah pushing George down the stairs in the suitcase.
Like through the walls, and not even just sideways. Like I hear my upstairs neighbor, like all around, very thin walls.
Now, was your bedroom, where was it located in your apartment?
The back of the apartment, so it was like, there's like a little kick out next to my patio, and that's like, that was my bedroom back there, like along the grass back there.
On the first floor?
On the first floor, yeah.
I have no further questions.
Any cross-examination?
Mr. Battaglia, good morning.
Imagine, like, no one ever in this guy's life for the rest of his life could ever complain to him about having a shitty neighbor. Imagine, like, saying to this guy, yeah, you're not going to believe I have this neighbor and he plays music really loud all the time. You're not going to believe. This guy's going to be like, oh, you have a bad neighbor? You had a bad neighbor? Let me tell you something.
Now, you said that you lived there next to Sarah Boone and George Torres for about a year?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware that the police were called to their residence?
Like,
while you were there for the year, are you aware of any incident in which the police were called to their residence?
I had never seen anybody there, but I had other neighbors in the complex tell me that it has been on multiple occasions. So that's why.
Just instead of what somebody else told you.
Yeah.
Just what you would observe. Did you ever, the year that you were there, living next to them?
Yeah.
Were you ever aware that the police were called to their residence?
No, the times that I was home, I never saw any police at the apartment there.
Right. And did you work odd hours or?
Yeah, and with my schooling and stuff too, I used to have class at like 1 o'clock in the morning. So all the time I was at random moments, like just not home throughout the day and night and stuff like that. So yeah.
Do you have an opinion as to whether or not, based on your interaction with Sarah Boone?
I'm going to object.
Let me finish the question first, please.
Do you know, from your experience with Sarah Boone and your experience with George Torres, that they drank alcohol?
Yeah.
Hang on.
I'll withdraw to that question.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Are you aware that they both consumed alcohol to excess?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Well, Vincent, I think you had testified. You may have given a statement to law enforcement.
Yes, it was one of the detectives.
A recorded statement?
Yes, I can't remember his name, but yes.
Okay, and I think it was on February 23rd of 2020?
Yeah, right around that time, yeah.
I believe you had said that...
I'm going to object as to improper impeachment.
Approach.
Approachal.
Around 7.
Objection's overruled for now.
Sir, would it be fair to say on that day you got home around 7? 7 p.m.
7 p.m.?
Yes.
Which day was this?
Sunday, February 23rd, 2020.
No, that day I actually got home from work probably around 1 or 2 o'clock or so.
In the morning?
No, in the afternoon. Because I went to work that morning at around 5 a.m.
And you said that you heard the normal yelling and arguing at about that time when you got home?
No, it was around that time, but it was really around like 10 o'clock, 10:30 is when like the arguing I could really hear clearly. It was like around 10:30 at night.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you redirect?
Just very briefly.
Yes, sir.
So on cross-examination, you were asked about the arguing you heard, and I believe your testimony was that it was pretty intense around 10:30.
Yeah.
Approximately what time was it that you heard this loud, crashing thump sound that you described?
A little after that.
Overruled.
It was a little after that arguing and stuff. It was probably around 11:15, probably 30, 45 minutes after like the arguing. I could hear it started.
No other questions?
Can this witness be released?
Yes, John.
Not subject to recall.
We would like him subject to recall. You guys know.
Okay.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes. It's not subject to recall. Have a great day. Thank you.
Brandon Motes, BRANDONMOATS.
Thank you. Mr. Castro, you may inquire.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you tell us how it is that you knew Sarah Boone?
I moved into the apartment next door to her when I was in college.
And so, when was that you were in college?
I would have moved down here in 2019 and would have been there until like 2021.
So she was your neighbor at Tealwood Apartments, is that correct?
Yeah, it would have been Tealwood back then, yeah.
And did you have any roommates back then?
Yes, I was rooming with Vincent Battaglia.
And during that time, what were you doing?
Like,
as far as work and school?
I was just going to school. During the time of this, yeah, I would have just been going to school. I don't think I would have had my job yet. I was just a student.
Did you have much interaction with the defendant or with George Torres in this case?
Honestly, I avoided them as much as possible usually.
The apartment where you lived, tell us, how would you describe the walls that separated the units?
Yeah, I remember that my bedroom was like the front-facing bedroom, and our walls shared a wall with where their staircase was. So, like, the way the apartments were laid out, we had a one-story apartment, they had a two-story apartment, so they had a staircase running right next to the walls next to, like, our bedrooms.
Would you ever have occasion to hear arguing and yelling going on inside of the defendant's apartment?
Yes, the walls were pretty thin, so if people were yelling, you could definitely hear it.
And how often would you hear arguments or disagreements going on over there?
When I first moved in, it was it was at least like once a week, to the point that I started tuning them out. Like I got good enough at just like not listening to them. They argued very, very often.
Do you recall the evening of February 23rd, 2020?
Yes, sir.
And on that evening, could you hear arguing going on in their unit?
Not late into the evening, earlier into the evening, probably like 7, 8 o'clock that evening, probably. Like earlier on, I could hear arguing.
And where were you inside of your apartment?
I would have been in my bedroom pretty much all night.
And your bedroom, just so that we can paint the picture, where would that would it have been, on the first floor or the second floor?
We had a first floor apartment.
Okay, so all the units were, or all the bedrooms were on the first floor.
Yeah, like I was saying before, we had a one-story apartment, and then they next door had like a two-story townhouse, so we only had the one floor.
Understood. And at a certain point in the evening, did you hear a loud crashing sound?
Yeah, probably around 10:30, 11 o'clock that evening.
And can you describe that sound for us in more detail?
I mean, yeah, literally, like I said, at like 10:30, 11 o'clock, it's the way their staircase was set up. I could, my bedroom, the top of their staircase would have been like above my ceiling, and then it ends next to where like my roommate's apartment was. So I could hear something start above me super loud and then fall away from me, like it was falling down the stairs.
Did this affect the walls that were between your two apartments?
Oh yeah, me and my roommate. I remember me and my roommate talking the next day about like we could literally like it shook both of our rooms.
Did you ever have occasion to talk with the defendant about what happened?
I never saw her after that. She would have. Yeah, I never saw her after that happened.
No further questions.
Any cross-examination?
Love me some Breakfast Club. Could you describe the ruckus?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, you were asked by the state if you ever had any interactions with Sarah Boone.
Oh no, what does he say? Describe the ruckus, sir?
Yes, sir.
I think you said you tried to avoid them.
Yeah, I don't like drunk people, and they were drunk a lot, so I did not interact with them.
Okay. Do you remember this interaction with Sarah Boone in 2009 when you woke up and witnessed Sarah?
I would have been 9 years old in 2009.
I'm sorry, 2019. Good catch. In 2019 when you woke up and witnessed Sarah sleeping on the concrete patio.
Oh, this may have been a slight misconception in how I said this. I never woke up and saw her sitting on the patio myself. That I would have seen her on the patio eventually, but it's not like I woke up and went back and saw her on the patio. This was my roommate relaying the story that she had fallen asleep on the back patio, and then I saw her.
Okay. So you did not witness that yourself, or did you see her?
I saw her asleep on the back patio. I was just clearing up the sequence of events there.
Okay, thank you. Another time, do you recall our interaction with Miss Boone when you were coming home from school, and she was trying to talk to you, and she seemed paranoid and rambling? And
Yeah, I had gotten locked out of my apartment, so I was waiting on the steps waiting on the steps outside of my apartment for my roommate to get home. So she came up and started talking to me. I don't really remember too many details of what she was saying because I didn't want to talk to her. She did, but yeah.
Okay. Do you remember saying that you believe Sarah was avoiding going into her apartment?
That's definitely the vibe. I don't remember what she was saying, but the vibe she was giving off was that she didn't want to go home.
Now I believe, and I just want to make sure that I heard you. You said that the first arguments, other than the Boone, which was 10-something, initially it was around 7 p.m. You heard arguing?
It would have, because it would have been. I remember that day I got home from class around 5 because I got out of class around 4:30 usually and walked home, so I would have gotten home around 5:30, and it would have been after because I came home, I made myself lunch, and I took a shower, and then I heard all of their arguing, so it would have been about an hour and a half, 2 hours after I got home, so around 7 to 8 o'clock.
Okay. And during that time, when you say arguing, was it back and forth?
Honestly, I wouldn't really be able to say if it was back and forth. I don't know I wouldn't remember too vividly if it was back and forth. Or if it was
Let me ask you this: did you hear a male voice?
Yes, I heard a male voice.
You hear a female voice?
Yes.
Okay. Were they both loud?
Yes.
Okay. If I can confirm, Judge.
Yes, sir, of course.
No, Your Honor.
Can this witness be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Subject to recall, Judge.
All right, sir, you're released subject to recall. Thank you. No later than members of our jury, thank you so much for your time, your attention, and your participation in this very important process. It is 12:21. At this point in time, we're going to go ahead and take our lunch break. I'm going to ask that you return here no later than 2 p.m. so we can pick up at that point in time outside of here, 12 Alpha in the Orange County Courthouse. And I'm going to give you an instruction. You're going to hear this instruction a lot over the next couple of days. Jurors, you have 2603. Can I get appearances for counsel for the record, starting with counsel for the state? State, anything we need to address before we bring back in our panel?
Can we get the evidence projection system up and can we test it before we...
We gotta get some lip readers for what she's talking about. Oh, shit.
All right, we're back on the record. State of Florida versus Sarah Boone, 2020 CF 2603. Can I get appearances for counsel for the record, starting with counsel for the state?
Dave Kester on behalf of the...
Ms. Boone is seated at counsel's table wearing the same black suit and pink blouse from this morning. State, anything we need to address before we bring back in our panel?
Can we get the evidence projection system up and can we test it?
You may call your next witness.
State will call Brian Boone.
Brian Boone. Here we go.
Yes. Sir, good afternoon. You could be seated. After seated, if you could please state and spell your name for the record for us.
Brian Boone, B-R-I-A-N, B-O-O-N-E.
Thank you, sir. You may inquire.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you tell us how it is that you know the defendant?
I dated her for quite a while, and then we eventually got married.
When you say you dated her for quite a while, how long are we talking?
I met her in the late 90s, and I believe it was around 2005 when we got married.
Did you have any children as a result of your marriage with the defendant?
Yes, we had one son.
And how old is that son?
He is currently getting ready to turn 14.
Did your marriage
Wow, same age as Brian. Brian and Sloan are just their turn. And this guy has a good head of hair, this Brian Boone.
With the defendant house?
No, it did not.
And approximately when was it that you separated and began proceedings for divorce?
Probably 2017, I'm thinking maybe.
And at that time, when was your divorce actually finalized?
Maybe it was 2006. I think the divorce was 2017, I believe.
And after your divorce, what was your custody arrangement with your son that you had in common with the defendant?
She was supposed to have him on Mondays and Tuesdays. I would have him Wednesday, Thursdays, and then we'd alternate Friday through Sundays every other week.
So 1 week you would have 5 days with your son, and another week she would have 5 days with him.
Correct.
And was this still the same custody arrangement in February of 2020?
Yes.
And in February of 2020, did you do you recall the events that occurred, I guess, first on the late evening of February 23rd, 2020?
On that evening?
Yes.
Well, apparently, Sarah called me at one point during the night.
Do you recall about what time she called you?
I think it was 11 something.
When you answered the phone, how did Sarah sound on the phone?
She sounded like she had been drinking, was pretty drunk.
Were you able to understand what the defendant was saying?
Somewhat, but she woke me up. I had work the next day. I was asleep when she called. She's done this before, calling me late at night, and generally I kind of just try to ignore it, so I wasn't really paying attention.
Who was she living with at the time?
George Torres?
When she called you late that evening, could you hear George in the background at all?
Not that I remember, no.
Did you pay much attention to this phone call?
No.
Now, the following morning, on February 24th, 2020, did you begin to call the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And approximately what time did you begin to call the defendant?
I think it was like 11 o'clock or something.
And why was it that you were calling her?
Well, it was going to be Monday. I had him on Sunday and dropped him off at school, and I was calling to try and find out if she was going to be actually picking him up that day.
Why would you have a question about whether or not she was picking him up?
She wasn't generally very good about actually getting him on the day she was supposed to.
So it was not uncommon for you to have to remind her to pick him up or to make sure that she was going to pick him up?
Well, I mean, remind or just find out if she was going to, or if she was just going to give him over to me as what happened.
Do you remember at what time on February 24th you actually got in touch with the defendant?
It was like 12:30 or something.
And when you actually got in touch with her, what did she tell you on the phone?
That George was dead, and if I would come over.
Did she say what happened to him?
I don't remember if she told me then on the phone or when I got there, but she told me they had been playing hide and seek and that she fell asleep.
What did you advise her to do?
I told her she needed to call 911 and that I would come over as soon as I could.
And this is on your first phone call here at approximately 12:30
Yes.
on 2/24/20.
Yes.
Did she call you again while you were en route to her residence?
She did. She called to find out if I was still going to be coming over.
And when you spoke with her while you were en route, what, if anything, did you advise her?
I told her she needed to call 911 and told her I was on my way, but she needed to get somebody over there.
How long did it take you to arrive at her residence?
From the first phone call, or?
Yes, from the first one.
Well, I mean, I live a minute or two drive away, but I had to get my puppy. We had just gotten a puppy recently. I had to get him in his crate and stuff like that and put something on because I was working from home. And total time, maybe 10 minutes.
When you arrived at her apartment, tell us what she told you when you arrived.
George was dead, and once again, I don't remember if she told me now or before that they had been playing hide and seek and she fell asleep, but I, at that time, told her again she needed to get 911 called to get somebody over there.
Had she called 911 at this point?
No, she had not.
So you've advised her now 3 times to call 911?
Yes.
Did you go inside of her apartment?
I walked in the front door into the little tiled area, like entranceway thing.
What, if anything, did you observe when you made it to that point?
Looking into the living room, I could see like the end of his feet and maybe a little bit of some legs that were kind of coming out around the backside of the kitchen area.
Did you continue to go into the apartment?
No.
Where did you go?
Sarah told me she was going to call 911 and go outside and have a cigarette and a drink and asked me to come out there with her. And I told her that I didn't really feel comfortable being inside. And I went out front and got in my car and waited for people to show up.
Did you witness the defendant call 911?
I think I was in there when she dialed it and first got somebody on the phone, but I wasn't there for the whole conversation. No, I was outside.
Did you stay there at the scene while police arrived?
Yes, I was there. I was part of it. I knew I'd have to talk to somebody, so.
Did you talk with law enforcement?
I did.
Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
We want to reserve our questions for when we call in our case.
Okay. All right, sir. You're subject to recall.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I missed all of his testimony. Son of a bitch. I go to get a cup of coffee and I missed that dude's entire testimony. Shit. Damn, man.
My understanding is subject to recall.
So somebody will contact me about that?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. State, you may call your next witness.
Also, while I was getting coffee, I got my latest freebie from the TikTok. You want to, Babe can't even believe that I got this sent to me. It's not even. I got a fucking tablet. I got a tablet. Look at that shit. It's like not like a great one. I don't know. It's like a VO or something. I don't know. With a keyboard and a mouse that goes with the tablet. And a case. I'm very excited about it. Free shit from the TikTok.
Yes.
Procho. Wow, we are blowing through
so that they may publish some evidence. Your patience for a few moments while the state attaches a Bluetooth speaker so that they may publish some evidence that's been received so far.
Bluetooth speakers. Let me tell you, I got like 6 of those from the TikTok show.
They do so.
They just send you free shit.
February 20.
Was this a 911 call?
300 minutes. Call on Monday, February 24th, 2020.
911, what is the location of the emergency? 4748 Brent Court, apartment 3. 4748, what's the street name? Brent, F-R-A-N-T-D. And their apartment.
I think I'm going to slow this down. This seems pretty quick. Let me put this on 1.25.
Number 3. This is the police, somebody call. My boyfriend is dead. Okay, send a line for the fire department. Will not hang up. That's good. No, please don't leave. 4748 France Lane, apartment 3, France Court. France Court? Yes.
Okay, is this near Mackenzie Drive?
I don't know where that is.
Cosmo D says, do not use that tablet. It's free for a reason, bro. Compliments of mainland China. I see Cosmo D has Joe Dirt as an avatar. Now listen to me, Cosmo D. They send me tons of free shit because I'm an influencer. That's why it's free, because I'm an influencer and I sell things. The latest thing that's gone viral for me, other than rain jackets for some reason, GNC multivitamins. I've sold like like $1,000 worth of the. That's why they sent it to me. And what is mainland China going to do? What are they going to start? Is there a microphone in there? Are they brainwashing me? Let them have it. Let them brainwash me. I'm not very bright. Let them listen to my life. I'm not very exciting. It's okay. All right, I'm going to put this on regular speed and start from the beginning because I can't understand what the hell is happening. Starting from the beginning.
February 24th, 2020.
911, what is the location of the emergency? 4748 Brent Court, apartment 3. 4748, what's the street name? Brent, F-R-A-N-T-D. And the apartment number? 3. Is this a police somebody call? My boyfriend is dead. Okay, send a line for the fire department. Do not hang up.
My boyfriend is dead. That was her line. My boyfriend is dead.
Location, Mercy.
That's better. No, please don't leave. 4748 France Lane, apartment 3. France Court. France Court? Yes.
Okay, is this near Mackenzie Drive?
I don't know where that is.
Okay, okay.
It's Gilwood Park Apartment.
Okay, 4748 France, correct?
Correct.
All right, correct. Now tell me exactly what happened there.
My boyfriend and I were playing last night, and I tried him in the case when we were playing, and like kind of hide and seek kind of thing. So I fell asleep, and I woke up, and he was dead in the suitcase. So I don't know what happened.
Hide and seek kind of thing. You know, we're two grown-ass adults in an apartment. Hide and seek kind of thing. You know, operator.
I don't know what happened.
Right, okay, what's your apartment number?
3.
Apartment 3?
Yes, like he had like blood coming out of his mouth, and I don't know, like he had like an aneurysm on the what nothing.
Right, okay, all right, okay. Listen, we're getting out of 13. All right, okay. Okay,
Now?
Okay, 40, yeah, man, this is, we're on our way up there. You're at 407-716-8684. Okay, is he hanging from somewhere or what, man?
No, I pulled him out of the suitcase. I tried giving him CPR.
Okay, so he was in a suitcase?
Yes, and I fell asleep.
Okay, how old is he working, ma'am? 42-year-old man. All right. Okay, we're setting up on the sheriff's station out there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. All right, listen to me. Okay, that you need to confirm this one. All right,
I was trying to figure out what book that is, and I think it says the Battered Women's Syndrome or something. That's what it looks like.
I need to confirm it. Is he awake at all? Is he conscious at all?
No, he's purple.
Is he breathing?
No.
All right. I need you to get him on the floor, flat his back for me, okay?
I did. I tried giving him CPR.
All right.
I tried giving him CPR.
Yeah, okay, well,
Nothing happened. He's purple.
okay, listen, there's a definition available. I need you to get it for me, okay?
What is it?
Do you have an AED available?
No.
All right, are you right by him now?
I'm sorry?
Are you right by him now?
Yes.
Okay, listen, okay, ma'am, listen, so is he cold and stiff?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's not necessarily cold, but he's stiff.
Right, okay. All right, listen to me. Listen, I want you to lay him flat on his back for me on the floor.
I did.
Removing the pillows, okay.
Yes, I did.
All right, okay.
He's stiff and purple.
Right, okay, listen. Okay, man, that's fine. We're still going to put compression to him, okay? All right? Take the heel of your hand on his breastbone, right in the center of the chest, right between the nipples.
Yes.
Put your hand on top of that hand.
Ready, I'm telling you. Just like that, and you tell.
Okay.
Please. Okay, your girdle.
Okay. Listen to me. All right. I want you to place the heel of your hand. Okay, right between his chest, right between his breastbones. Put your other hand on top of that hand. We want to pump his chest to be hard and fast. Going to do twice per second.
I'm doing it again.
Okay, no, just keep on pumping. That's all you need to do for me. Keep on pumping his chest for me. I don't need you to stop and talk or anything. I just want you to count out loud for me, okay?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is 19.
Okay, man, just keep on pumping his chest. That's all you need to do for me, okay?
Yes. Come on, please, hurry up.
Okay, ma'am, they're driving here as fast as they can. Okay, don't stop to say hurry up. Just keep on pumping and counting.
I'm still doing it while I'm talking to you, okay?
Okay.
Still doing it.
All right, just keep pumping his chest. Count on, I'll take a count with you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Please hurry.
Okay, man, they're getting here as fast as they can, okay?
He's stiff and he's purple.
Okay. Begin pumping his chest for me, ma'am.
I'm still doing it, okay? Still doing it. Still doing the concept.
Right, okay, that's fine. You did a good job. Just keep on doing it for me. That's all right. They're getting there as fast as they can, along with the sheriff's office also, okay?
Please.
Keep on pumping, man. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep on pumping for me, man.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Believe me, I'm doing it, okay? We're playing hide and seek.
All right, I understand. All right, just keep on pumping for me, okay? Okay.
Please hurry.
Right, okay.
Horrible. This is horrific. What happened? Like, what happened?
Okay, man, keep on pumping the chest for me, okay? They're in the parking lot. They should be up there shortly, okay?
I'm still doing it, okay?
All right, okay, good. And you found them in a suitcase, you said?
Dad, we were playing hide and seek last night. I fell asleep. I think they're here.
Right, just keep on pumping the chest until they take over, okay?
I am.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Open. Come in. Is not coming out?
Let that take over for you, okay?
When was the last time anybody saw him? The last time. We were playing hide and seek. He was the container. Okay. But unfortunately, he stood down too long to have to keep recording him. Hello, ma'am?
So we're there, obviously.
I'm going to speak your board. Okay. Is there any kind of medical? No, not that. Hello?
Hey, man, the time I'm going to take care of you now, okay? Yeah, so we'll see you there.
All right. Oh, ma'am, is still there? Hello? Contact 407-716-8684, reference to mobile data. 1308.
Call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 4.
Your next witness.
State we call Abraham Moreno.
Oh, my man's got the ponytail.
Mr. Moreno, raise your right hand and sworn to the swear or affirm the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I affirm. Sir, good afternoon. Could you state and spell your name for the record for us?
Abraham, A-B-R-A-H-A-M. Last name is Moreno, M-O-R-E-N-O.
Thank you, sir. You may be seated. Mr. Castro, you may inquire.
Love you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Tell us, what do you do for a living?
I'm a maintenance supervisor for apartment complexes.
Is that what your position was back in February of 2020?
Yes, it was.
And what apartment complex?
Tealwood Park Apartments.
And how long did you work for Tealwood Park Apartments?
About 2 years.
And tell us, what were some of your duties in your position there with Tealwood Park?
Daily, I cleaned the grounds, walked the property, answered maintenance calls, did emergencies, dealt with vendors.
Did you become familiar with the residents there at the apartment complex?
Yes.
Did you have occasion to meet the defendant in this case and also a George Torres?
Yes.
Let me turn your attention to February 24th of 2020. Do you recall that date?
Yes.
And on that date, did you have occasion to come in contact with the defendant in this case?
Yes, I did.
And tell us, what was the circumstances?
He does kind of look like him, Wesley. He does. What's his name? Roberto something? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know his name, but he does. Yes.
In which you came into contact with her on February 24th, 2020.
I was called by the manager and the assistant manager to come to her unit. I believe she was already sitting outside at that time.
And when she was sitting outside of her unit, what, if anything, did you observe about her and about the unit?
The police was there. Her ex-husband was present. She was sitting outside, and that's when she decided she wanted to talk to me and the managers.
And what did she tell you?
That she's confused. She's not exactly sure what happened. She pointed out that she recalls that they were playing a game of hide and seek. There was an instance where she was going to teach him a lesson, and then she just doesn't recall anything else until the next morning.
Did she say she fell asleep?
Yes, she did.
Did she say things got out of hand?
I don't really recall that part, but I do recall her stating that they were playing their game and that George went into a suitcase, and I didn't ask any questions. I just let her talk for herself.
How long was this conversation?
For about 4 or 5 minutes.
Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
Any cross-examination?
Yes, sir.
Tad says he looks nothing like Robert Trujillo. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna look up. I mean, come on. He looks a little bit like him. I see it. I see it. Whoever said that in the chat, I see it.
You may inquire, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Wesley.
Good afternoon.
This conversation that you had with Miss Boone,
Yes.
that took place on the 24th. Is that correct?
Yes.
And who else was present on the time that the conversation was taking place?
Standing right next to me would have been Melissa Sexton and Eugene Harris, as well as the officer who was in front of the door.
Okay. So there was a law enforcement officer there that day, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, on the 24th is when you said that Miss Boone made this statement to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
They were playing hide and seek?
Yes.
And what else did she say happened?
She had told me that they were playing hide and seek. They had drank. She was trying to teach him a lesson, and that was that. She went upstairs. She went to sleep. She woke up. She doesn't know what happened.
I mean, teach him a lesson? That seems pretty bad for old Sarah, that she told this guy she's going to teach him a lesson.
Okay. So that was on the 24th?
Yes.
All right. On the 26th, were you not interviewed by law enforcement?
Yes.
Okay. So
I may have my days wrong, but it all happened on the same day.
All right. The 24th, do you remember 2 days later that a Detective Scott Lowen conducted an interview with you at 4704 Lucier Court, Winter Park, Florida? Do you remember that interview?
Yes.
So that was 2 days later, is that correct?
I would assume so.
Yes. All right. So when he interviewed you 2 days later, did you tell him about this statement that Miss Boone made to you that you just told this jury in court?
I did mention it to him.
You did mention it to him?
I mentioned to them that we did have a conversation.
Did you tell him the content of the conversation?
I mean, I told him the whole content, but I did tell him we had a conversation.
All right. Well, what did you tell him? What content did you tell him on the 26th?
That they were playing hide and seek, that she was confused, she doesn't know what happened. I do believe I did mention to him the fact that she had said that she was trying to teach him a lesson. Not that anything was done with malice. I didn't state that at all.
Okay. So it's your recollection now today that on the 26th, you told Officer Lowen what you just told this jury. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. Sir, in preparing for this case, did you have a meeting with the Assistant State Attorney on September 23rd of 2024?
Did I have a meeting?
Yes.
A brief chit-chat over the phone.
A brief chit-chat that was over the phone?
Yes, sir.
All right. At that point in time over the phone, did you tell him that Sarah Boone, the defendant, stated that she was teaching him a lesson and things got out of hand and that she fell asleep?
Yes.
Is that what you told him?
Yes.
Okay. And that was in 2024 of September the 23rd of this year, 2024. Yes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you telling us that back on February the 26th of 2020, you told Officer Lowen at that time the same thing?
As I recall, yes.
So did she ever tell you how things got out of hand?
No.
Sir, you testified that you knew both Mr. Torres and Miss Boone, is that correct?
Yes.
You actually knew George Torres from a different time, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
When did you first know George Torres?
In the 1990s.
In the 1990s?
He was a teenager, and he lived down the street from me and my wife.
So you had a previous relationship with Mr. Torres?
No, not at all.
Not at all. You just knew him from then?
Yes, as I stated, he was a teenager, and I was an adult.
Okay. During this time, though, that you became reacquainted with him, did y'all establish a friendship at that time here in Orlando?
I wouldn't say friendship, but an acquaintance, yes.
Okay. Sir, on Monday, February the 24th, that would have been the day that you were with Miss Sexton and Gene Harris.
Yes.
Out in front of the apartment.
Correct.
Did you talk to law enforcement that day?
No.
You did not talk to them that day?
I don't recall talking to him that day, no.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I don't have any. If I can confer.
You can, sir.
Thank you, sir. I don't have any further questions.
Hey, redirect examination.
Just brief.
All right, thank you.
Back in the 90s, when you had previously known George Torres, in this case, where were you living at that time?
I lived across the street. I lived on one block. He lived the next block over down in the middle.
In what city?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
And when did you move from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania?
2018, I believe.
So in the intervening years, from your move from Philadelphia to coming to work at Tealwood Park, did you have any contact with George Torres?
No, as a matter of fact, I'm from that particular block in 2005, so I don't meet George again until I work at Tealwood's.
When did you start working at Tealwood's?
Wait, he knew him as a teenager in Philadelphia, and then meets him again in Florida as just like his maintenance guy? Is that wild?
Can this witness be released?
No, you're on just subject to recall.
All right, sir. You'll be released subject to recall. Thank you.
God, they're all subject to recall. Poor guys. Oh, is this the body cam?
Good afternoon, ma'am. You can be seated. Please state your name and spell it for the record if you could for us.
Kayla Rodriguez. Kayla.
This lady was the best. This lady was, if you haven't seen the body cam, I don't know how much they're going to show of it. She was amazing. She was amazing at the scene, dealing with Sarah Boone, dealing with the crime scene. She was a badass. I think that's who this is, right?
Kayla Rodriguez, R-O-D.
Name and spell it for the record if you could for us.
Kayla Rodriguez. Kayla, Kayla Rodriguez, R-O-D-R-I-G-U-E-Z.
Thank you. Mr. Castro, you may inquire.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi.
Can you tell us did you work for?
Orange County Sheriff's Office.
And what is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Deputy Sheriff.
And how long have you been a deputy sheriff?
A little over 8 years, since 2016.
And tell us, what are your duties as a deputy sheriff?
As a deputy, I respond to calls for service, anything from a over with call, like a car being keyed the day prior, or a 911 emergency.
And what type of training do you need to be a deputy sheriff?
So for me, I obtained my bachelor's degree from UCF in criminal justice in 2014. After that, in 2016, I was hired by the sheriff's office. Right after being hired, I went straight into the academy. The academy is 5 months of training. We go over everything from case law, scenarios, defensive tactics, physical training. After that, I do 2 more months with the sheriff's office where we go specifically into policy related to Orange County specifically. After that, I do 3 months on the road with a trainer where we are evaluated periodically through that process. You have a partner, you respond to calls for service during that time, and you slowly learn how to handle calls by yourself.
Do you also undergo continuing training as a condition of your employment?
Yes.
Tell us, were you working on February 24th, 2020?
Yes.
And tell us, what area of the county were you working in?
Orange County, unincorporated Orange County.
And did you receive a call in regards to this case?
Yes.
And what was that call? What information did you have at the time you received the call?
So the dispatcher informed me that a woman called 911. She was actively performing CPR, and that her boyfriend was in a suitcase.
And did you respond out to the scene?
Yes.
And when you responded out to the scene, were you dressed similarly as you are dressed today?
Yes.
And just for the record, you have, it looks like a standard green uniform on with a tool belt, your firearm, and also radio, body-worn camera, badge.
Yes.
Tell us about your body-worn camera.
So my body camera is used to capture scenes when we arrive. So as we are conducting any sort of...
She's also doing an awesome job as a witness, just looking right at the jury and explaining everything. I don't know. I'm a big fan of this lady.
Law enforcement action, we turn our camera on.
when you turn your camera on, tell us, does it immediately capture sound at that point?
It does not. When we activate our camera, it goes back a minute, and the minute that it goes back to, you don't hear any audio for that first minute.
Tell us also about the capacity and the battery life of your camera as well.
So the battery will last us an entire shift typically if it's in a buffering mode. So if we're not recording, it will last the entire shift. As we record, it does drain the battery. So typically we will turn it off if we're sitting in our car for an extended period of time. If we call our supervisor, if we're talking to another deputy on the side, away from a scene, we will not have the camera recording. If it recorded throughout the entire shift, the battery would die. We would need multiple batteries.
So you actually activate the camera in order to begin recording?
Correct.
Was your body camera operational on this call out?
Yes.
H, do you recognize that disc?
Yes.
Did you
Camera from the day of the incident?
fairly and accurately represent the contents of your body-worn camera?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification in the state's I into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as I will be received into evidence without objection. It states 4.
Can you take a look at that disc? Tell us, what is that disc?
Body-worn camera from the day of the incident?
From February 24th, 2020?
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity to review that disc prior to coming to court today?
Yes.
And is that your initials on the disc?
Yes.
And does that disc fairly and accurately represent the contents of that portion of your body-worn camera from that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's been marked for identification.
H will be received without objection.
Showing what's been marked for identification presents G. And Your Honor,
All right, here we go with the body cam. Shout out to Carla who let me know, and I'm letting you guys know if you didn't see in the chat. They do show the body. So just giving you guys the trigger warning right now. I like to do that just for someone who might be sensitive to that. They are going to show the body. Additionally, she's going to ask for a Dr. Pepper about 6,000 times. I need my Dr. Pepper. Can I get my Dr. Pepper?
You live here? Okay, I'll talk to you guys. I don't know. That's my, the property manager. I would have to tell him really quick, or so we know what's going on? Yeah. You want that? I'll worry about that. We'll take care of that for you, okay?
CRR, excuse me, a member.
I'm gonna fuck with you, buddy.
Super Bowl for 11 months says get Sarah her Dr. Pepper. CRR, thanks so much for being a member for Super Bowl for 11 months, almost at a year. Thank you so much.
I had to grab them. Okay, wait 1 second, okay? I really, I'm great. Okay, well, I got my Dr. Pepper on the counter. Okay, you 1 second. For the time, okay, you call it? You got time to call it? Okay. Go ahead. 13, okay.
It's going a little fast. I think I'm going to put it at 1.25. I'm trying to see if we can get done with today's testimony before Allie goes live this afternoon or whenever she's going to go live. So I'll put it at 1.25.
Boyfriend? Yes, for like 3.5 years. What happened? He and I, we drank last night. Can you pass this to the around to the FBI stuff? They need to sign that, sure.
I think I'm going to put it at just regular speed. Seems fast to me.
No. Each of them has to, this might be a real thing, but each of them has to put their name. Normally we all just put everybody. What's going on? I just got here to fill me in. No problem. Like, we're putting a puzzle together, we've been doing some artwork together. You are putting a puzzle together? Yes, we have a puzzle that we started in there. Okay. We've been doing art, trying to take stuff off the wall to make new art put up there, like having a good time with one another. But we were drinking, we had a bottle of wine last night. Okay. So then it's like, we decided to play hide and seek, right? Okay. So, in the suitcase, okay?
I'm also going to boost the volume a little bit here. That might be a little too loud, though. Let's try this.
My ex-husband, my former husband. Hi, you live here with you guys? No. I told him over here. Okay. I didn't know what to do. Okay. I didn't know what to do. Okay. So then he came over here. Here, let's talk in private, okay? I called you guys. The problem is I fell asleep. When did you do CPR? This morning. When I found it. Before you called? Yeah. 1 o'clock right now. I tried. I was awake, but I actually got out of the bed at like 12:30ish, whatever. So I came downstairs, and I was like, oh, he's in the suitcase still. Well, that's when I found him, and I took him out, and I tried doing CPR, and then I called him, and then I called you guys. Did he be here before the fire department got here? Who? Your husband? Or your ex-husband? Okay. Where'd you live at? Right down the street. Okay. So you were playing, and who did come up there? I did, but then I fell asleep. Okay. You're okay. I wasn't here. I'm just trying to figure out what happened. I fell asleep. I don't know if he's some kid or like having an aneurysm or a heart attack or what. What kind of medical conditions does he have? None that I know of. Nothing that you know of. None that I know of. No. Okay. All we had was a bottle of wine. Literally, just a bottle of wine. Okay. Doing puzzle artwork. Then we decided to go ahead and see. That's all that happened. Okay. So I moved in. I don't want it there, but I don't know what happened. So how long were you doing CPR on him prior to calling 911? You tried that all morning? Yes. Okay. And then I called him while I was time did you start probably giving me a what ballpark? Here, let me fill this at the end, okay? Please, may I have my Dr. Pepper? I am still cutting out right now. Ma'am, and you can't talk to him until we get down the paper, okay? Just don't leave, okay, Brian? Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll get loose.
I know. Do me a favor. Stand over there by that car. Give me 1 second. There's a dog in there?
Yeah.
You want to help clear the back bedrooms real quick? Just make sure there's nobody else in here?
Was he here by himself?
Nope, he was here with the girlfriend, and that's the girlfriend's ex-husband. He's going to see her. They were planning on to go see what she said. She's been doing CPR on him all morning before calling us. Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and start making phone calls.
Okay, go ahead.
What do I do with this dog? Because I don't want him to mess with... Here, come here. Oh, perfect. Okay.
Gentlemen?
Yes. Here, come on, let's go outside. Come on.
Good boy.
What's up, Kitty?
You thank you, Robert.
I'm sure it's empty, but just want to make sure. I put my glove on. Touch anything.
Orange County.
Yes, Tommy. Put it over here. Let me check this closet. Go to garage. Go to garage.
All right, I guess we're going to have to set up a crime scene now.
Oh, yeah.
What's that? Sheriff, what? Sheriff, Sheriff,
Just give us a second, okay? It's on the camera. I can't move anything from out of the house. Here, I want you to sit down because I don't want you to pass it out. This is probably a lot for you to deal with, right? Water. I can get you some water, okay? Just I want you not on your feet because I don't want you passing out. I need to find water. Okay, I'll get some for you.
He's trying to put you on it.
That was supposed to.
Your Honor, request permission to publish States 5.
I have to do that again. The cone came up and I didn't have the sound effect on, so I got to do that again.
The cone. It's a cone.
All right, there we go.
states 5.
You may proceed.
Let's go ahead and start making the call. Yes, could you go ahead and give me his last name, Torres? Spell it for me. Torres. And his first name? George, Jorge. 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 His birthday? 2/13/78. And this is the boyfriend? Yes. How long? 3.5 years. Living together that whole time? Yes. Okay. And your last name? Boone. Spell it. Boone. First name? Sarah.
Just got a $5 Venmo from listener 1126. Thank you so much, listener.
ARAH. Birth date? 10/10/77. So, you had a second to kind of collect yourself. Tell it to me again. You guys were playing last night, drinking a bottle of wine.
Putting pieces together, doing artwork.
Puzzles, artwork.
We had a bottle of wine and they decided to play hide and seek. So he
What time was that? Do you remember?
I mean, I know that I was in bed probably by like what, 12:30?
Okay.
Well, I went upstairs at least and I fell asleep.
Okay.
Forgetting that he was in the
guys were
suitcase.
playing the hide and go.
Yes.
And at some point you put him in the suitcase?
No, he got in the suitcase. So he thought it'd be funny to be put in the suitcase. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to joke with you and I'll dip you up and make him, squirm a little bit, whatever it is. But then I fell asleep. I fell asleep.
Where was the suitcase?
Right where it is.
Right down there?
Yes.
You zipped him in there?
Yes.
Thought it would be funny a little bit?
It was. We both were laughing about it.
Okay.
And then I fell asleep.
Where did you fall asleep at?
Upstairs.
In your bedroom?
Yes.
Okay.
Totally forgetting that he was in the suitcase still.
Okay. And then you came back downstairs?
This morning? Or this afternoon, yes, when I got up.
What time?
12:30-ish. I was awake, but I totally forgot that he was in the suitcase. He can tell you there's a lot of things that I/Rita think go jobs.
Yeah, he did tell me.
Right, all that good stuff. So I just totally forgot.
So you began to do CPR on him?
Yes. Yes.
About what time this morning did you start doing that CPR?
No, it was the afternoon. It was afternoon because I was awake. But then I finally decided to come downstairs at like 12:30-ish, whatever it is. And I was like, do I forgot he was in the suitcase? And he wasn't moving. Nothing was happening. So I unzipped him, took him out and started doing CPR on him. He was on his way up here. I called you when he got here.
Once he got here, you called us?
Yes.
Okay.
And air was coming out and he was gurgling, but I could tell by looking at him.
But you knew how to do CPR, you were doing that on your own?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the person that was on the phone with me also, I counted with him doing it.
And he's got no medical? He doesn't take any medication?
I don't know. I don't know medical-wise. I know he doesn't take any medications whatsoever.
Okay.
The only thing, like I said, I don't know if alcohol had to do with it, but we had a bottle of wine.
Okay. All right. Here, I want you to sit back down because I don't want
Can I have one more sip of water? Yes, go ahead.
Personal 29 residential audible 130
Just got a $10 Venmo from Brenda P. and says being awesome. Thank you so much, Brenda.
I'll do what I can to get you a cup because I don't want you to have to keep doing that.
Team motors next on the channel.
The cups are right there.
Air 44 motors.
Sit right here. Don't talk to the ex-husband right
I
now.
won't. Can I have a cigarette, please?
Ma'am, I can't take anything out of the house.
It's on the back porch.
Nope, all of it. Secure, okay? I'll try my best to get you what you need, okay? Maybe one of these days you have a pack from someone, sit down and I'll try and get you what you need, okay?
Just a cup, please.
Okay. I don't want you on your feet. Yes, you put him out the second. He came back in? So there's no fence then? Corporal asked me to give you a rundown? She's sitting on the curb at the she's down. I was getting ready to call you guys. Yeah. Want to talk over here?
request permission to publish State 6.
You may do so.
You get enough water? No, you want to stay seated. I don't want you getting lightheaded. So remember I said the detectives were going to come out and talk to you and go from there. You know what I'm saying? They're here. They're going to ask you a few questions and then go from there, okay? All right.
All right, sir. My name is Chelsea. My partner Scott. It's my understanding you reside here? Okay. Is it just you? Okay. Your former husband. Okay. But you reside here with George, and then your son lives with you, or lives there's 50-50.
Yeah.
Okay. So from what has told me, she explained last night that you guys were drinking a bottle of wine, and around midnight, you decided you guys. Okay. You guys decided to play hide and seek.
Well, we were playing hide and seek, and then
was your son home at the time, or okay?
No, with mine. With Brian.
Okay.
Decided to play. We just did it like that. Like, we were putting puzzles together. We were doing artwork. You can see the puzzle that we finished in there, and then the artwork, and then decided to play hide and seek. Just being stupid.
Okay.
So he decided to get in the suitcase. So I thought it would be funny to, and he was talking about it too, to get them up in there. I go upstairs and fell asleep. So this morning when I got here and I actually got up out of the bed, I thought sure he was downstairs on the laptop, really quiet. But then I came upstairs and I'm like, where is he? Like, and then that's when I found it.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Okay. And then you weren't sure about if you woke up this morning?
It was afternoon. I mean, I was awake,
this afternoon,
but I just didn't want to come downstairs. So I just laid in bed for a little while. And then I eventually came downstairs, confused about where he was. And then I was like, oh my God, he's in the suitcase still. So I pulled him out and I ripped him out and I started to try to make CPR for him. I called you guys. So I called Brian.
Okay.
And then as soon as he got here, which is 30 seconds down the road, I called you guys.
Okay.
The person on the phone had me do the concussions continually, so I count with him until you guys showed up.
Okay. And so as part of our investigation, we obviously have to go inside the house. We have to look at things. Are you okay with us going in the house and looking at things?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And forensics, so we have to have our forensics crime scene investigators come out. Are you also okay with them coming inside, taking photographs and? Okay. Okay.
Can I ask, is Brian or George, was he diagnosed with any kind of medical history?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't take drugs. I mean, we'll have you take one bottle of wine here and there, but I don't know. Like,
well, that would be my next question. So you guys don't normally drink? You just drink once in a while, or?
Well, I'm gonna say like, okay, I guess normal drinking is like we will have like a glass of wine or two, like while we're eating dinner, or something here, and we'll say that's working with him. We'll see from there. But it's not like
a couple of beers a day.
I don't understand though, like, for the little bit that we had, like, not having anything to do with it. Like, I don't know if he had a heart attack or a stroke or an aneurysm or what happened to him. I don't know.
So were you guys together all day yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. Here?
Yes.
Like, neither of you left the apartment yesterday?
I drove up to the store to get cigarettes.
Okay.
But I mean, you could walk there.
Does he have any history of this? I know he doesn't now, because you said he doesn't.
I don't know.
As far as you know.
Well, we know with Bubba went to Blanca, right? That was her name, the in the Murdoch case. But I'm guessing these dogs probably went to a better place than they were at when they were having Sarah Boone take care of them.
Not ever known him, never seen him.
No. I mean, he's from Philadelphia, and he grew up in Philadelphia, and then he went to Massachusetts, and then from Massachusetts he came down here. So I don't really know, like, a whole lot of, like, medical history or anything.
How long have you guys been together?
Almost 4 years, like 3.5 years.
You guys been living here the whole time?
Yes.
He's never been to the doctor or to the hospital during that time?
He and his brother got into a really bad argument at one point and had facial reconstruction. But he had been in the hospital from that, and then I talked him into going to see, like, a regular physician so he could get just, like, a regular, like, checkup thing. Yeah. But there were no red flags.
How long ago was that?
The surgery or the doctor?
Both.
The surgery, I think, was at this point, what, 2 years maybe? 2.5 years. The checkup was probably a good 2 years too.
Okay.
And the suitcase is still in there?
Yep, always.
Is it normally stored down there, or did you guys travel recently?
No, he was going to start picking from donation in there, so that's why it's out. Yeah.
Okay. You guys didn't recently travel somewhere or anything like that?
After you zipped them up, did you move the bag around and ask them out, or you just zipped it up and walked away and asked them?
We were laughing about it, but I went upstairs and I fell asleep.
Okay. But what position was he in when you went in? Was he sitting on his rear end and his head up and he just kind of
No, okay, so like this is the suitcase. Like this is his head and then he's right here and his feet were down.
So he was laying on his side?
Yes. Yes.
You just closed the flap and zipped it around?
Yes.
Okay.
And we were playing.
Understandably? Okay.
So he said that I needed to tell you guys about his family. Like, who do I talk to about that?
We're gonna do that once we walk through and see. Yeah, we're gonna.
I'm just telling you, like,
it's gonna be a
I'm
while.
afraid for my life. I want you to know that. I'm afraid for my life. His family has never, like, I'm the blue-eyed white devil, is what they call me. So they've never liked me. They've never taken me in. They've never accepted me. I'll put it that way.
Have you called any of them?
We talked to his daughters yesterday.
No, I mean, like, about this.
No.
Okay. So no one's gonna know until we will be making that notification. So
They're going to tell me.
Okay.
Do they live local?
Yes, they're down the road. They're going to tell me. His kids are going to tell me in Philadelphia. They're going to tell me. This was not intentional.
Okay.
They're not going to understand that. They're not going to accept it.
We're gonna do a thorough investigation, and we will definitely make sure that you don't feel scared when we leave here. Okay.
And my 9-year-old.
Well, he's at school and he's with your husband.
I know. Well,
ex-husband.
Your husband said that, or your ex-husband said he made arrangements for your 9-year-old to be picked up.
Oh, okay, Mom. Okay.
All right, we're going to go aside if that's okay.
Yes, please, but can you guys keep me posted so I know what's going on?
Yes, ma'am. All you have to do is get their attention if you have a question you need to talk to us. He's standing right there. She'll be right here.
Yeah. Okay, but will you guys tell me, like, so you're telling me, like, you won't call whoever it is without telling me, right? I mean, I have all their phone.
We're not calling. We're not making phone calls. We're actually going to speak to them in person.
Yeah.
We
That'll
are.
be later on.
Okay.
It'll be later.
Prior to us making any
I'm
calls.
not going to be here. They're going to tell me.
Okay.
We'll address all of that, okay, before we leave.
Okay? This was.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Just stay seated, okay, Sarah? I know you're panicking, okay? Just relax. We'll come and talk to you. We'll keep checking on you.
What I would give to see body cam of those three talking after they just saw that and talked to her. What I would give to see that. The conversation between this woman and the two detectives.
While you were at the scene, did you also make contact with Brian Boone?
Yes,
Did you take a statement from him as well?
I did.
Were all your interactions with the defendant on that day captured on your body-worn camera?
Yes.
I have no additional questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
No questions, Judge.
Is this witness released?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You're released, not subject to recall, ma'am. Thank you.
Wow, that is very surprising to me. They had no questions for her. The defense had absolutely. That is shock. They, wow.
Can the parties approach for a moment?
That is really surprising that they had no questions for her.
It is 3:21 at this time. We're going to go ahead and take that afternoon regularly scheduled break. I'm going to ask you to come back here in 15 minutes at 3:37. Similar instructions that I've given you previously. Please don't conduct any independent investigation or research as to person, places, things.
They'll call her back after Sarah testifies. All right. Well, we don't need that break, so let's get through here.
Florida versus Sarah Boone. Let me get appearances for the state.
Sarah Boone.
Us before we bring back in our panel.
Now from the state.
Defense.
No, sir.
All right. Let's go ahead and stand, and we can bring back in our panel. Our jury.
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, do you recognize our jury?
Yes.
Members of the jury, again, if you could please raise your hand, showing that you complied with the court's instructions during our last break. All right, the record reflect all jurors have. Thanks, sir. Sir, good afternoon. Can you state and spell your name for the record for us?
Johnmartinez,
Thanks, sir. You may be seated.
Thank you.
You may inquire, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Tell us, who is it that you work for?
Orange County Sheriff's Office,
And what is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Deputy Sheriff.
How long have you been with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
I'm going on my 16th year.
Prior to working for the Orange County Sheriff's Office, do you have any previous law enforcement experience?
I do.
And where was that?
I first started my career with the New York City Police Department.
Hey, oh, we got a New York City transplant in Florida. For folks who are not from the States, it is very common for people from New York, particularly, usually when they retire, they go down there, but even just people move. New York to Florida, Florida to New York, call them snowbirds. They go, in the winter, they go down in Florida. They stay up in New York during the summer. Snowbirds.
About 10 years.
And what was your position with the New York City Police Department?
I was a police officer.
And at the Sheriff's Office, tell us, what are some of your duties as a deputy sheriff?
Respond to calls of service. My primary function is the school resource officer.
And is continuing training a condition of your employment with the Sheriff's Office?
It is.
Tell us, how is it that you became involved in this case?
I was dispatched to this location.
And what was this location?
It was located at 4748 France Lane, apartment number 3.
And is that here in Orange County, Florida?
It is.
And when you responded to that location, who did you first come into contact with?
I came in contact with Miss Sarah Boone.
Do you see Sarah Boone here in court today?
I do.
Could you please point to her and identify an article of clothing she's wearing?
The lady sitting in the middle with the black blazer.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identify the defendant?
Record will still reflect.
During the time that you were on the...
Whoa. Wait just a fucking second. Wait just a fucking second. Did they switch the court reporter after lunch or something? That's a different woman in the court reporter chair. The other one was blonde hair. Did they switch the court reporter? You can't fool me.
Scene, did you have a body-worn camera?
I did.
And was that body-worn camera activated?
It was.
Were all your contacts with Ms. Boone recorded on that body-worn camera?
It was.
Were other deputies also on the scene at that time?
Yes.
And was Deputy Rodriguez there?
She was.
So would both of your body-worn cameras both capture some of the same time frames?
Correct, yes.
Did you have an occasion to go inside of the apartment?
I did.
And inside of the apartment, what observations did you make?
When I first entered the apartment, I noticed a Hispanic male
laying on his back in looks like a small nook dining area. Later identified Mr. George Torres.
Uh-oh. Babe coming in hot from the top rope. I always keep track of blondes. How dare you?
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who's been previously marked for identification as states K and been shown to defense?
You may.
Sir, I'm showing who's been marked for identification as state
Camera.
place. Time I'd like to move what's previously
Into evidence without objection to State 7.
I don't think I've ever seen this body cam. I saw hers. I don't think I've ever seen his. Personally. Oh, this might be when they show the body. I don't know. Again, trigger warning. They may show the body. Oh, I gotta.
They're coming out now. I'll get you somebody, okay? She wants to say something. She wants to talk.
So that we will not know the answer to that because we're not. So what's gonna happen? We're gonna go to the judge's office and they'll have what's called an autopsy. Yeah, that'll be first thing tomorrow morning. I'll know a lot, hopefully a lot more tomorrow morning as far as him. But I cannot. There's no way I could say how, why. So just by looking at him, like, why is he purple? That's normal when someone passes away, but then any turn.
There's a hard spot to be in the blood pressure itself. It's the lowest points in the body. And it becomes very so that's called a public that happens every time.
I'm like really scared. I want you guys to know that.
Well, you have all these deputies here, so if I were here, nothing's going to happen. Before we go and make any notifications, you'll have plenty of time to leave or do whatever you need to do. Okay? And we can talk about that more in time. Right? Yeah, you.
But like, I don't like this was totally like not intentional. Like that's what I'm scared about too. Like.
We'll have all the answers. We'll have a lot more answers tomorrow and have a budget and look at it. Like you said, what you're seeing here is common. This is us coming out from the scene. Yeah. His age, no real medical history that we know of. For him to have passed away, we come out.
I know. Yeah.
We come out and do an investigation. Medical examiner's office, we send people out, this is what we did. If he was 75 years old and had a history of heart condition, we wouldn't be here.
I don't know what it is.
Exactly. And that's what we're here to find out. We're just here to get the answers. The answers that you want, the answers that his family
I just
want.
really want to see my son. Like, I really need to see my son. I mean, I know I can't go anywhere, but right. So do I just like sit out here and wait for you guys?
If you would, yes, please.
Does anybody else have you to show up, or everybody's here that needs to be here?
My team's here that needs to be here. The medical examiners will show up when we call them, but we're not ready for them yet. So they're going to take him, they're going to take the photos, take him, but that's towards the end of it. And they'll be called well in advance when we're ready for them, but we're not ready for them at this point. So we won't be calling them quite yet. Okay. So like I said, I gotta go do some paperwork. They're gonna chat with some people, and then we're gonna come back and talk to you if you're okay with that. So just give us a little bit more time. Like I said, and you go and do that.
So, like, do you guys tell his family, like, today or after tomorrow?
We have to. Our investigation is pretty much complete here. Once we leave here, we will be going to.
But again, we'll know. I'm not going to just go and do it without you knowing. You'll know. We'll talk to you prior to doing anything like that.
But how, I mean, I understand what you guys and how you do it, and, you know, so, but, like, what are you just telling us? What do you tell his parents? Like, what's the reason as to why?
We tell them what we know at that point.
Yeah.
We tell them the truth.
And that we're going to be waiting for the autopsy results, and I will get the autopsy in the morning, and hopefully the doctor will be able to give me some of what they think and see.
Give them their number, they can contact them and get it, you know.
But yeah, they're gonna know what we're here, what we're investigating, and that we're still.
They're gonna think I killed him. They always have said that. They've always have said that. I told you because I'm the blue-eyed white dragon. That's what they call me. Because they don't want him with me. So he's basically just not really been around his family because he chooses me over them. Even after I encouraged him numerous times to go there and see his family.
Do you have somewhere safe that you can go tonight?
Both my parents are deceased, my grandparents are deceased, my aunt and uncle are deceased. I got nobody. I have a brother that's in the Marines, and I've got another one that's in jail.
Unless you find that's Marine local?
No. Well, he's in Altamont, but I think he's doing whatever Marine he's doing. But the only way...
Your phone's inside, correct?
Yes.
Does he have a phone?
No.
He does not.
He used my phone.
He uses your
Yeah,
phone.
the sheriff phone. So, the only place I could go is over to Brian's house. So, I don't think he'll have a problem with it. So,
well, like I said, we're not going to leave here. If you do not feel safe, you're not going to leave here if you're not feeling safe. And then we're like,
and then so I'm in Philadelphia.
Well, she's in Philadelphia, yes.
There's going to be a funeral.
Right. Is that you're talking like days and weeks? No, I'm talking right here, right now. So let me do my investigation. Let me go do this paperwork that I'm talking about because we can go back and forth about what ifs like all day long.
I know. So
I promise we're not going to leave here for you and you not feel safe. Okay?
Please. I don't even know what to tell you.
It's okay. Just take a seat, have some water, give us a few minutes, let us do our thing, and we'll be back to talk to you, I promise, okay?
Like you said, you just let them know.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Okay.
You have anyone in there?
There's nobody here, just me.
Okay, that's fine. You're right there, right?
Yeah.
Sit there, take care. I have relief coming, so just give me.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
No, sir.
Can this witness be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. You're released, not subject to recall. Thank you.
Thank you.
Afternoon. Can you state and spell your name for the record for us?
Melissa Roughgarden, MELISSA ROUGHGARDEN.
Thank you. Counselor, you may inquire.
Ma'am, who do you work for?
I'm employed with the Orange County Sheriff's Office.
So what is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Currently, I am a forensic biologist with the forensics unit. Prior to this, I was a crime scene investigator for 5 years.
And how long in total have you been with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
About 6.5 years.
And tell us all the positions you've held during that time.
Those two, a crime scene investigator and a forensic biologist.
Let's turn to your work as a crime scene investigator. What does a crime scene investigator do?
We respond to crime scenes. We photograph and document those crime scenes through photographs, notes, and sometimes sketches. We collect evidence, we process the scene, and then we do further processing to the evidence back at our forensics lab.
When you say process evidence or process the scene, can you tell us what that entails?
It depends on the scene and the evidence, but it includes the photographs. We also take swabs for potential DNA. We can also do testing for possible blood and things like that. We also process for latent fingerprints, among other things.
What type of training did you need in order to become a crime scene investigator?
Upon being hired with the Sheriff's Office, as a CSI, I completed a 16-week training program, which includes in-house processing, as well as going out to crime scenes with trained crime scene investigators to observe and then assist, as well as taking on calls with the trained crime scene investigator.
Approximately how many crime scenes have you processed in the course of your time as a CSI?
It would be hundreds. I don't know the exact amount.
Were you working in this capacity as a CSI on February 24th, 2020?
Yes, I was.
And tell us, where did you respond out to on that day?
I responded to 4748 Franz Court, Apartment 3.
And is that in Orange County, Florida?
Yes, it is.
And when you responded to that scene, whom did you make contact with?
I made contact with the homicide detective, Chelsea Kepsel.
Did you receive information from the detective?
Yes, that it was a death investigation.
Did you walk the scene with the detective?
Yes.
And tell us, what does it mean to walk the scene with a detective in a homicide?
We go into the scene and just observe. We don't interact with anything and discuss what we see.
When you walked this scene, did you see George Torres?
Yes, I did.
And where was he located?
He was located on the floor in the living room of the apartment.
Did you, with the detective, identify potential items of evidence to be collected?
Yes.
You had mentioned previously about documenting scenes with photographs. Was that done in this case?
Yes, it was.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who's been marked for identification and to yourself and tell me if you recognize the items contained within.
Yes, I do.
Tell us, what is the contents of State M?
They are photographs I took on the crime scene.
Do they fairly and accurately represent how that crime scene appeared on February 24th, 2020?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification to State's M into evidence.
How many photographs are there? Do you have a total?
111.
No objection. All right. Well,
Publish to you as part of State's M. Picture photo number 4. Tell us, what is this?
This is the front door to the residence.
State 5.
This is also the front door of the residence, just a closer image to the door.
When you enter the residence, what is the first area just off to the right of the front door?
That would be the kitchen.
Showing you it's been marked as State's 11.
Yes, so this is just inside the door. To the right, there is the kitchen area.
Showing you State's 14. Yes. What is this a photo of?
So this is the counter with the sink in the kitchen, and there's also the open area just above where you can see into the living room.
Showing you from State's composite, photo 19.
Yes.
What is this?
This is a hutch inside the kitchen. You can see in the background, that is where that first photo of the kitchen was taken. So that's the entryway. And then this is the hutch, and there's a cell phone on the hutch in the kitchen.
Showing you stage 22.
This is the trash can in the kitchen. You can also see the hutch we were just looking at there on the side. Trash can, you can see two.
Stage 23.
This is the contents of the trash can. You can see 2 wine bottles on the top of the trash.
Did you also find receipts in that trash can as well?
Yes.
The wine bottles are about the entire size of the garbage can.
Photo 25 from the composite.
These are those same wine bottles and 3 Publix receipts that were removed from the trash can.
Did you take these items and collect them into evidence in this case?
Yes, I did.
Photo 32 from the composite.
Yes, this is just in further into the entryway. You can see the living room.
Photo 35 from the composite.
This is another photo of the living room. You can see the victim located on the floor and a suitcase in the bottom corner of the photograph.
Photo 36.
This is another photograph in the living room. This is that wall we saw in the kitchen there with the opening. You can also see a wooden baseball bat leaning against the wall.
Was that baseball bat collected into evidence in this case?
Yes, it was.
Photo 38.
This is, excuse me. This is also a photograph of the living room, just the other side of the room.
Photo 43 from the composite.
Yes. This photograph was taken in the living room. You can see the stairs leading to the second floor.
Is this the only? Is this where he was? The stairs.
Photograph was taken in the living room.
There's like not a lot of room here. Is this where he was? The suitcase went down.
You can see the stairs leading to the second floor.
Photograph 45.
This is a photograph of the living room just from the other side of the room. You can see the front door in the middle back of the photo.
Photo 49 from the composite.
This is a more close-up photograph of the suitcase.
Just going to show that again because I have it at 1.5 in case no one saw that. That's the suitcase right there.
Photo 50.
This is a photograph of one of the zippers on the suitcase. This is a photograph of one of the
Here's the zipper.
zippers on the suitcase.
Photograph 51.
This is a close-up picture of that same zipper. There is no zipper pull on it. It appeared to be a small wire of some sort, the pink wrapped around the zipper. This is the zipper on the other side of the suitcase. This is the zipper on the other side of the suitcase.
So neither one of the zippers had the pulls on it?
Just for the record, that's photograph 52. States 53 from this composite.
The close-up image of that same zipper. There's also no zipper pull on that one.
So are we? Is there any allegation we think that she took those off, or they just didn't have zipper pulls?
Photo 54 from the
I
composite.
guess there's really no way to know unless she admitted to it.
This is the contents of the suitcase after just lifting the lid.
Photo 56 from the composite.
More of a close-up image of the items. There were miscellaneous papers and paperwork, some clothing items, and apparent blood inside the suitcase.
There's the inside of this. My Lanta, that is so freaking small. Holy shit. I mean, I knew it was small, but that is small.
What items, what apparent blood was inside the suitcase?
It was observed on the white cap and a necktie, and there was also visible blood just on the interior of the suitcase.
Photo 57 from the composite.
The contents of the suitcase, but you can see the white cap more clearly and the blood observed on it.
'58 from the composite.
You can see the necktie with blood. It appeared to be silver multicolored. And then there's also a diazepam syringe in the plastic casing there. It was prescribed to the victim.
Photo 61 from the composite.
That is the miscellaneous papers and paperwork that was removed from the suitcase.
Photo 62 from the composite.
That's the suitcase after all of the items
What an absolute nightmare.
were removed.
Dear hostess, am I free tonight? If my wife is available, I'll be hanging out with her.
Photo 64 from the composite.
Hopefully.
Yes, that is what appeared to be some small pieces of paper that appeared
You know I likes to keep a track of my blondes.
to be soaked with blood.
Is this inside of the suitcase?
Yes.
Wait, what was soaked? Sorry, what was soaked with blood?
Yes, that is what appeared to be some small pieces of paper that appeared to be soaked with blood.
Is this inside of the suitcase?
Yes.
Pieces of paper, okay.
Photo 65 from the composite.
That is the baseball bat that was leaning against the wall
That is a full-on Louisville Slugger, huh?
in the living room.
Photo 68 from the composite.
This is back to the stairs to the second floor in the living room.
There's the stairs. Oh, and I have one of those the shelves like that. What is Babe got one of those shelves for us. Or did I order it? I don't remember. I feel like
Photo 69 from the composite.
Moving closer to the stairs to the second floor.
Composites.
Moving closer to the stairs to the second floor.
Photo 70 from the composite.
Photographing more of the staircase. These are the steps leading to the second floor before I proceed up to the second floor.
This is photo 71 for the record. Photo 72 from the composite.
The upper portion of the stairs leading to the second floor.
How many bedrooms were on the second floor of the unit?
There were 2 bedrooms.
Photo 75 from the composite. What is this?
This is the hallway. You can see a closet in the hallway and then the door to one of the bedrooms.
Does this appear to be a child's room?
Yes, it did.
Photo 79 from the composite.
This is a photograph within the child's bedroom.
Photo 86 from the composite.
This is the door leading to the other bedroom upstairs.
Did this other bedroom also contain a bathroom?
Yes, it did.
Photo 90 from the composite.
This is the
Date night. Babe says 32K of the blondes. I am available. And why Babe says 32K of the blondes? Because when I started dating Shannon, I had 32,000 followers on Twitter at the time. And when I met her sister, she said, "What about your 32,000 girlfriends?" She was not excited to meet me, her sister. But I've grown on her.
the bed within that bedroom.
Photo 97 from the composite.
This is the bathroom.
In that master bedroom upstairs?
Yes.
Did you also have an occasion to photograph the defendant?
Yes, I did.
You see the defendant here in court today.
Yes, I do.
Could you please point to them and identify our article of clothing they're wearing?
She is right there with a black blazer and a pink shirt.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identify the defendant?
Record so reflect.
Showing you photo 98 from the composite.
This is the photograph I took of the defendant.
Why is it that you were photographing the defendant?
This is the photograph I took of the defendant.
Why is it that you were photographing the defendant at this point?
I collected her buccal swabs, which is a DNA standard from the inside of the mouth, and it is part of our procedure to photograph that person for identification purposes.
Do you also document the rest of her body as well at that time?
Yes, I did.
Publishing photograph 101 from State's Composite.
This is a photograph of her hands facing upward.
Trying to tell what's on her little pajamas or whatever she's wearing there.
Photograph 102.
This is her right hand facing upward.
Photograph 103.
Her left hand facing upward.
Photograph 104.
Both of her hands facing downward, so the tops of her hands.
Photograph 105.
This is her right hand facing downward.
Photograph 106.
And her left hand facing downward.
Photograph 107.
This would be of her right arm.
Photograph 108.
Her left arm.
Photograph 109.
I don't get why the camera person's just not keeping it on the screen. It's just of Sarah, not...
Her right arm with it facing upward.
Photograph 110.
Her left arm with her arm facing upward.
During the time you were interacting with the defendant, did she ever indicate to you that she had any injuries?
No.
You had previously testified that you also collected physical items of evidence from the home as well, in this case.
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who has been marked for identification as State C and been shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm assuming it was remarked for identification as State C. Can you take a look at that package for me?
Yes.
Do you recognize that package?
Yes, I do.
And tell us, what is that package?
These are the 2 wine bottles that were collected from the trash can.
Is your name on that package?
Yes, my name is on the Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence label that I filled out, and my initials are on the evidence seal from when I sealed the package.
And it also has your agency case number and the location information for this case.
Yes, that is correct.
Ma'am, could you open the contents of States C and look at it to yourself?
Yes. Recognize the item. They're red.
Sure, just have a view from the floor. Contents of State C.
These are the 2 wine bottles that I collected from the trash can.
Are these wine bottles in the same or substantially the same condition as they were at the time that you packaged them on February 24, 2020?
Yes, the same time I collected them that day.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as States C into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as State C will be received into evidence as States 9 without objection.
Your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may do so.
You can unwrap it now.
Yep, those are magnums.
You can put it back.
Can you imagine the hangover? I've only drank wine a couple of times in my life, like a decent amount. Maybe once. I went to a winery once, and the headache I had the next day. I do not like wine. I only like the one that's like dessert wine that's really sweet. The hangover I had that next day was like nothing I've never had a hangover worse, I think, than when I had wine.
Did you also have occasion to collect the baseball bat from the living room?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who has been previously marked for identification as States B and shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm showing you who has been marked for identification as States B. Can you take a look at this item?
Yes.
Do you recognize this item?
Yes, I do. This is the wooden baseball bat I collected from the living room.
Does this item have your name on it?
Yes, it has my name on the Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence label that I filled out, as well as my initials on the evidence seal.
States B and look at the contents of it to yourself without displaying it to the court?
Yes.
substantially the same condition as it was at the time that you collected it on February 24, 2020?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as States B into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as B will be received into evidence as States 10 without objection.
Wait, why didn't they? Oh, okay. Oh, it literally is a Louisville Slugger. I think, yeah. Jeez.
To collect the suitcase as well. You also had an occasion to collect the suitcase as well in this case.
Yes, I did.
Prior to placing the suitcase.
Wow, I just got another Evan Elizabeth Duke who bought 5 coffees before, just bought 3 more and said, "Thanks for having such a great channel. Treat Shannon." Evan Elizabeth Duke, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I will treat her. Treat yourself. I'll treat Shannon.
Suitcase into evidence. Did you process it?
I took measurements of the suitcase.
What are the measurements of the suitcase?
It was 28 inches in length, 20 inches wide, and 8 7/8 inches deep.
Your Honor, at this time, may the witness step down from the stand and approach the clerk's area?
Yes.
And it looks like this may be there is Evan Elizabeth Duke. Thanks again. And here may be the finale of the evidence, which looks like the old suitcase here.
Ma'am, I'm showing you what's been marked for. Tell us, what is that you know that this is the suitcase you collected from the living room?
It has the Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence label that I labeled with the item description. It also contains my name and the agency case number, and my initials are also on the evidence sheet.
Ma'am, at this time, could you open States A and look at the contents of it to yourself?
Yes.
For resellers like myself, this is what we call a Frankenbox, which is when you have to take. It looks like a Frankenbox, where you have to like take 2 boxes because you don't have a box big enough, so you have to like combine 2 boxes to fit the item.
What is inside of States A?
This is the suitcase I collected from the living room.
And does it appear to be in the same or substantially the same condition as the time that you collected it and placed it into evidence?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's been marked for identification as States A into evidence.
Any objections? No objection. What was pre-marked as A will be received into evidence without objection as States 11.
And Your Honor, at this time, I'd ask for permission to publish States A to the jury.
You may.
I'm going to put this regular speed here.
Can you open the inside of it?
Not behind the podium. This is where the camera guys got like, "Hey, move it, move the podium, or move." This is.
How easy is it to operate the zipper that closes the suitcase?
It was a little difficult.
I have no additional questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
afternoon.
Are you also referred to as a medical examiner investigator as opposed to just crime scene investigator?
No, that is not my title.
Do you do reports that the medical examiner necessarily relies upon in the process of doing the autopsy and additional investigations?
You would have to ask them.
Who makes the decision at the scene as to what items will be photographed and what items will be taken into custody, what items will necessarily be tested or analyzed?
That's a collaborative effort between the crime scene investigator and the lead detective while on scene.
That would be yourself, and who was the lead detective?
The lead detective was Chelsea Kepsel.
Now, you authored a report in this matter, did you not?
Yes.
And that report was utilized, if you in fact know, by the medical examiner in developing her autopsy report, was it not?
I do not know.
In your report, did you advise the medical, or whomever might read your report, that in fact the body had been removed from the suitcase by first offenders or first responders?
No, I don't believe so.
And we know that you have the capacity to do DNA analysis, correct?
No, we process DNA or collect swabs for DNA, and then that's submitted to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for conventional DNA analysis.
You did that with a sample from the inside of Sarah Boone's mouth.
Her buccal swabs were submitted to the FDLE.
And who made that decision?
The detective and I.
Who made the decision not to bother to do a DNA analysis on the blood from the items within the suitcase or the suitcase itself?
That was a discussion between the detective and I.
And you chose not to do that?
No, we did not.
You assumed the blood inside the suitcase belonged to George Torres, correct?
There was blood observed in the suitcase.
But you don't know who that.
Just got a $20 cash app from Sherry D for date night. Happy wife, happy hubby. Thank you so much, Sherry D.
Belonged to, because you didn't bother to analyze it or have it analyzed, correct?
The blood was not tested.
Now, State's Exhibit B, the bat. You took that into evidence. Was that again a collaborative decision by yourself and the lead detective?
Yes.
And what efforts did you make to have the bat analyzed, given the fact that it was apparently evidence?
It was just collected as evidence from the scene.
Did you advise either the lead detective or anybody else involved with this investigation that there may be matters that could be analyzed when analyzing the bat that would help or assist in the investigation of this matter?
It's my job to do the documentation and the collection of evidence.
Well, you said it was a collaborative effort between yourself and the lead detective, so did you participate in that decision?
We chose to collect the bat and put it into evidence.
And so there was a fiber analysis done on the bat to determine whether or not it was used to strike George Torres when he was in the suitcase, was there not?
Pardon?
In fact, there was not, was it? There was no effort to analyze the bat.
I'm going to object. I don't believe the witness had an opportunity to answer the question.
Sustained. I'm sorry. Please.
Can you repeat the question?
If I can remember it, I will. Do you know that there was any effort made in this particular investigation, the investigation of Sarah Boone, to analyze the bat for fibers?
No, there was not.
And why was that not done?
It was not done.
You indicated that you had some interaction with Ms. Boone. Is that correct?
I collected her buccal swabs.
Did you speak with her?
In collecting her buckle swabs, yes.
Did you speak to any other witnesses?
No.
Did you make any determination of other matters that might be of import or evidentiary value when you were going through the house and taking photographs and documenting the interior of the townhouse?
You'll have to be more specific.
Well, how many pictures of the child's bedroom did we see?
Here today?
Yes, ma'am.
We saw the entrance to the bedroom as well as a photograph of the interior of the bedroom.
What was the evidentiary value of that?
It's my job to photograph and document while on scene, so the rooms in the upstairs were photographed and documented.
Did you photograph holes in the wall, possibly made by the victim?
I don't recall.
Is it paused? Mine's paused on my screen.
Photographing holes in the wall, no.
Am I paused? Is it paused for you guys? I don't understand. On my screen, it's paused. Is it paused for you guys? I can hear it, but like it's just
take photographs of items.
The hell? What the hell is going on? Oh, there we go.
Within the house or throughout the house that may have depicted incidents of prior violence.
You'll have to be more specific.
How about bloody pillowcases? Did you make any effort to collect and analyze pillowcases of the rooms that you were photographing?
No.
Who made, you have significant experience with zippers?
I use zippers regularly, yes.
Enough to have an opinion as to whether or not a zipper is stuck or not.
Is what? Sorry?
You testified on direct that the zipper was a little tight.
Just that it was difficult without the zipper pulls to use the zipper.
And that was your opinion.
Yes, from opening the suitcase here today.
Today. You only tested it today?
Pardon?
You only today have for the first time tested the ability to pull open the zipper on the suitcase?
No, I'm saying it was difficult today.
A redirect examination.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, you documented the entirety of the house as you saw it.
Yes.
So every room in the house,
They were all taken overall photographs.
walls in the house.
In the overall photographs, yes. They weren't all individually photographed, no.
And you did not document or note any type of holes in the wall or any type of damage to the walls, anything like that.
Not the walls, no.
Is that something that would have been documented both photographically and also within your report?
Yes.
You also, as we've previously seen in the composite, saw the victim where he was laying in this case, correct?
Yes.
Was the victim, did he have blood on his mouth and on his face?
Yes, he did.
Did he have open wounds on his body?
There was blood coming from his nose and his mouth. There was also some other areas, like defects noted on his body.
You also made contact with the defendant, too, as well.
Yes.
Did you note any other wounds or cuts or anything else that was not documented that you haven't testified to?
No.
So, no wounds, nothing on her?
Not that I recall, no.
No further questions?
Thank you. Can this witness be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Owens, can this witness be released?
Judge, we'd like her to be on call.
Subject to recall, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Evening. So much for your attention in this matter. It is 4:52. At this time, we're going to go ahead and take our recess for the evening. Madam Clerk has letters that I have signed regarding your jury service for you to provide to your employer. Court deputy will provide them to you in the deliberation room before you are released for the day. I have a similar instruction to read to you that I gave you before the lunch hour. Jurors, you must not conduct any investigation on your own. This includes reading newspapers or any other means. This applies to trial. Jurors do not with friends, so do not. You must not talk. You must not attend or accept. Whereas, State, anything else we need to discuss?
Not from the state.
Defense. All right, thank you all very much. We will see you at 9 a.m. Monday, October 21. We're off the record.
All right, folks, we got through the entire day. Can you believe that? I guess I'll see what stupid looks like when she leaves. I appreciate you all being here this morning, unplanned. I do plan on doing some, hopefully next week at night I'll be able to, I don't think I'll be able to get full days in, but maybe some key testimony I'll be able to do during evenings. And then next Saturday, likely I'll be able to do some a recap as well. Allie will be going live very shortly. Let me just see before I close this out if there's a live set up yet that I can portal to. Let me see. No, I don't see one yet, but Defense Diaries, you guys know, if you don't know already, they're covering Delphi, Bob and Allie. And there was actually court today because the jurors are sequestered or whatever, so I think they have them working half days on the weekend. So Allie will be live shortly to discuss what went down today. It's set up. It's not coming up on my... It's not coming up on my... When I go to redirect. I got nothing. Let me see. Oh, I found it. Okay. 12:45. Oh, so it's in like 9 minutes. All right. So when I end this, it should take you into there if you want to watch that today. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate it very much. We love you guys, miss you guys, and look out for some future lives next week. And me and Babe are going to have a date night. Thank you all so much for the Venmos and the Super Chats. Oh, she's so chipper. Look at this little smile on her. It's freaking the worst. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. Snackless Sarah with the great name, with snacks as the avatar, with a 10-pound super chat. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend.